Chapter 141, Confession. Butterfree returns. That evening, the group made camp in the wilderness and gathered around the bonfire. Xiaozhi, who had begun to treat everyone as true friends, slowly opened up about a fear he'd kept buried for years. My parents were often away for work. It was Luxray who always looked after me. No matter what time it was always by my side. His face clouded as he spoke. But there was that one day when I ran out on my own. As a child, he had gone skiing alone, slipped, and lost consciousness. In his worst moment, it was Luxray that found him, pressing its warm fur against him until rescuers arrived. By the time help came, Luxray had been frozen solid and had died saving him. Xiaozhi sighed. After that, I became afraid of getting too close to Pokémon. He forced a small smile and looked at Lucario. The reason I could finally resolve that fear was because I met Lucario. Lucario smiled and nodded. Xiaosheng listened with tears in his eyes. He had always wanted to be a trainer, but had never truly considered the possibility of permanent loss. Normally, Pokémon only lost the ability to battle. Hearing Xiaozhi's story made everyone cherish and protect their partners even more. Marshadow, feeling the warmth of the group, slipped out from Ash's shadow to watch them as well. The next day, they resumed their journey. After passing through a forest, they reached a small mountain lake, mist curling around distant peaks. Xiaozhi checked the map. This is it, the Yunying Mountains, at the foot of the Rainbow Range. At his words, Ash's rainbow wing began to glow. Ash held it up, and a brilliant rainbow arced from the wing, stretching all the way to the highest summit. That's Tianqing Mountain, the range's tallest peak, Xiaozhi confirmed. Xiaogang added, it looks like Ho-Oh is on Tianqing Mountain. Great, we'll see Ho-Oh soon. Xiaoxia and the other girls cheered. Though the mountain was now in sight, the trek would still be long, so the group set off again, step by step. They entered a valley filled with Butterfree performing their courtship dances. Ash, Xiaoxia, and Xiaogang smiled at the familiar spectacle. Some of them had seen it before, but it was no less beautiful. For Xiaoyao and the others, this was their first time witnessing it, and the scene felt overwhelmingly romantic. At this time of year, Butterfree migrate south together to breed. Xiaozhi sighed, watching the swirling wings. As trainers, we can raise Pokémon, but we can't give birth to life. Standing at Ash's side, Xiaoxia and Xiaoyao glanced at each other, then at the boy in front of them. With a shared breath, they moved closer. Just as they were about to muster the courage to take Ash's hands, Ash smiled and reached for them first. Both girls flushed bright red, surprised and delighted. Pikachu and Eevee hopped down from Ash's shoulders and watched silently with Xiaogang and the others. Ash took a steadying breath. I like you, both of you, Xiaoyao and Xiaoxia. Will you be my girlfriends? The sudden confession left Xiaoyao and Xiaoxia frozen for a moment. Then, shy and smiling, they nodded. Ash hugged them both, grinning under the witness of countless Butterfree dancing in the valley. He reached into his bag and handed each girl a small glass bead. What's this? Xiaoxia asked, turning hers over curiously. They're megastones, Ash said with a smile. The bracelet and hair tie are keystones. These two megastones are for Gyarados and Blaziken. Xiaoyao cheered and fastened the bracelet on her wrist. Xiaoxia tied the hair tie into her hair, beaming. Behind them, Xiaosheng rolled his eyes before bounding forward. Brother-in-law, give me a present. Ash's mouth twitched at the nickname. I'll give it to you once you become a trainer, he said. No problem. Xiaosheng agreed immediately. He wasn't a trainer yet anyway, so there was no point begging now. As the Butterfree began their southward migration, a pair drifted toward the group. One of them was an unusual pink variety, the same Butterfree Ash had released earlier so it could follow its mate. The ordinary Butterfree with a yellow scarf fluttered into Ash's arms, excited. Ash's eyes widened. You're my Butterfree. Xiaogang and Xiaoxia stared in surprise. They hadn't expected to be reunited here. When the others caught on, admiration rippled through the group. Everyone respected Ash for letting his partner go for love. The two Butterfree bobbed and nodded toward Ash as if to say they wanted to stay. Do you want to come with me? Ash asked softly. The two Butterfree answered with cheerful cries. Okay, go Pokeball, Ash called, flinging two Pokeballs. They hit, and the capture was successful. Welcome back, Butterfree, Pikachu chirped. Immediately afterward, the two Pokeballs vanished from view, teleporting straight to Professor Oak's laboratory. Gender male, type bug flying, ability compound eyes, strength superior peak, paralyzed powder, sleep powder, hurricane, confusion, Dynamax type bug. The group was still celebrating the reunion when Pikachu suddenly stiffened and emitted crackling sparks. Everyone looked up and a massive lightning-charged tiger stood before them. Raikou, the last of Ho-Oh's guardians. This was not the mechanical Raikou Ash had encountered back in Hoenn, but the true divine Raikou. Raikou roared, lifting its head to the sky. The clouds above split and a bolt of pure blue lightning tore through the twilight. The flash was so bright it temporarily blinded them all. When their vision cleared, Raikou had already vanished into the stormy sky. To be continued. Chapter 142, Lord Fan, the rainbow-colored feather that has lost its luster. Xiaozhi's group pushed on toward Tianqing Mountain. As they passed through the Yunying Range, twisted clouds and thick mist cut their visibility to less than 5 meters. Ash spread his aura, took Xiaoxia and Xiaoyao by the hands, and led the way. Under his aura, he could feel the wild Pokémon around them watching. Behind them, 2 other groups trailed, the Team Rocket trio, and, if Ash wasn't mistaken, Cross. There was also another human aura nearby. Chengzi scanned the fog warily. Do you feel it? The wild Pokémon seem restless. Zongxi frowned and nodded. They're agitated. That's because of Ho-Oh, someone called from above. All the Pokémon gathered here are trying to draw power from Ho-Oh. A little old man dropped down from the cliff and sniffed the air like a bloodhound. Faint, but that's definitely Ho-Oh's scent, he said with obvious excitement. Ash rolled his eyes inwardly at the man's superhuman nose. He fished the rainbow wing out of his pack and held it up. Old man, are you talking about this? He asked. The man's eyes went wide. This is the rainbow wing. He stared at it in disbelief. Chengzi looked puzzled. Zongxi suddenly pointed at the old man, recognition brightening his face. Ah, you're the author of that book, the one about... The old man stroked his beard, struck an arrogant, enlightened pose, and declared, Call me Fanya. I've been searching for Ho-Oh for 20 years. Nobody knows Ho-Oh better than I do. 20 years? Chengzi blurted, shocked. Fanya puffed up with pride. Then Xiaosheng rolled his eyes. But you still haven't found Ho-Oh? Fanya bristled. I did find Ho-Oh on Tianqing Mountain a long time ago. I just didn't have the rainbow wing. They let Fanya join the party and continued to the summit together. Ash lifted the rainbow wing and pointed it at the peak. The feather flared with 7 colors and shot out a brilliant rainbow that struck a protruding crystal rock. The crystal shone, crackled, and extended. When the rainbow rock blooms with the rainbow flower, Ho-Oh will appear, Fanya explained, excitement in his voice. Ash stepped forward to place the wing when a barrage of green and purple needles slammed into the ground in front of them. What's that? Fanya demanded. A mechanical whirring sound came from the ridge. A giant Meowth-shaped robot lumbered into view. Team Rocket, everyone shouted. If you're smart, hand over the rainbow wing and maybe we'll think about letting Pikachu go this time, Jessie sneered. Or, we'll take Ho-Oh and Pikachu both, James added. Meowth grinned, proud of their plan. You're dreaming, Ash snapped. He threw 4 Pokeballs. Pidgey, Charizard, Venusaur, and Wartortle burst out in a flash. All right, attack! Ash ordered. Pidgeot charged a Hyper Beam. Charizard breathed a massive flame. Venusaur slammed the ground and unleashed Frenzy Plant. Wartortle fired Hydro Pump. The Meowth robot spun itself into a cyclone and crushed the incoming attacks with a wild, mechanized sweep. Heh, James bragged. We sank all our Hoenn earnings into this invincible Meowth robot. The robot whirred and swung a massive iron fist. Meowth's Iron Fist, Meowth announced. Pikachu, Iron Tail. Charizard, Dragon Claw, Ash barked. Pikachu's tail gleamed metallic. Charizard's claws blazed with draconic energy. Together they shattered the robot's fist. Meowth's eyes flashed red. Not done yet. Invincible Meowth laser. The robot's optics glowed as it fired a red beam. Ash Rayquaza, green, come out, Ash called. Green, light screen. Green instantly raised a shimmering light screen and blocked the laser. Ash seized the opening. Rayquaza, green, hyper beam now. Rayquaza and Green gathered energy and fired, their beams merging into one that pierced the robot. Sparks flew, metal tore, and the machine seized up. It's stuck, Meowth cried, fingers frantically pressing controls. Goodbye, Team Rocket, Ash shouted. Pikachu, Thunderbolt. Pikachu's golden electricity struck the immobilized robot and it exploded in a thunderous boom. Team Rocket tumbled into the sky in their usual cartoonish fashion as the smoke cleared. As everyone breathed a relieved sigh, a black shadow streaked past Ash's shoulder and snatched the rainbow wing. Deoxys, still recovering from the hyper beam recoil, hurled a confusion attack, but it fizzled out uselessly. The thief was a Honchkrow. Being a dark type, it was immune to psychic moves. Cross emerged from behind a mass of rock, accompanied by his Lycanroc. The Honchkrow landed beside Cross and dropped the rainbow wing at his feet. Cross glanced at Ash and the others with a cold smile, then sprinted toward the rainbow rock. The Honchkrow and Lycanroc moved to block anyone who tried to stop him. Pikachu, Thunderbolt, Venusaur, Vine Whip, now! Ash yelled. Thunderbolt crashed into Lycanroc, who took the hit and slammed against the rock wall. Venusaur's vines were met and blocked by the Honchkrow's wings. Deoxys' confusion had no effect on the stubborn Honchkrow. Cross reached the rainbow rock and laughed, voice cutting. I've seen Ho-Oh before, but I never got the rainbow wing. I've pushed myself to the limit to become the strongest, and yet Ho-Oh didn't recognize me. Why should you have it, Ash? He thrust the feather forward. If Ho-Oh rejects me, then I'll make it kneel. The rainbow wing went dull in his hand. Its brilliant colors drained away, leaving a black feather that pulsed with malignant aura. Cross didn't hesitate. He pressed it to the rainbow rock. No, Xiaozhi and Fie shouted together. Show yourself. Ho-Oh, Cross screamed. The black feather floated on the rock and shot a purple beam into the sky. Dark, ill-omened energy clung to the beam and ripped the heavens open. A shadowed gloom swallowed the summit. The rainbow rock bled away its colors, and a spreading purple corruption swallowed the peak. If the rainbow wing is touched by an evil heart, it loses its luster, Fanye recited from his book. At that moment, Marshadow burst from Ash's shadow, eyes blazing at Cross. The shadow Pokémon shaped ghostly hands and grabbed Cross, flinging him aside with incredible force. Marshadow will seal everything and set things right, Fanye cried. Marshadow lunged for the blackened wing, but a jet of black flame struck it mid-reach and sent it tumbling through the air. Marshadow, everyone gasped. The legendary Pokémon had just been struck down in a single devastating blow. To be continued. Chapter 143, The Arrival of the Phoenix King, The Great Pokémon Battle. A piercing cry split the air. Everyone looked up as Ho-Oh tore through the sky and began to descend. But this was not the radiant Ho-Oh they remembered. Its colors were dulled, its feathers darkened. The legendary bird had been swallowed by rage and had lost its reason. The rainbow wing's glow had turned ominous. The sacred life aura that once surrounded Ho-Oh had been replaced by a deathly silence from the netherworld. It felt invaded, convinced humans had come to plunder its power again. After granting them countless chances and seeing no change, Ho-Oh allowed that wrath to take hold, and the sacred phoenix was transformed into a dark, destructive incarnation. Ho-Oh, ominous dark form, strength, divine rank, divine authority diminished. Ash stared, speechless. If only the rainbow wing had fallen into Team Rocket's hands, he was sure even they couldn't have summoned a dark Ho-Oh like this. The corrupted Ho-Oh glared down, spreading its wings. Dark energy swept across Tianqing Mountain, and the wild Pokémon began to succumb to the corruption. Vicious, altered Pokémon gathered and charged at Ash and the others. Pikachu, are you okay? Ash called over the chaos as Cross's Lycanroc and Honchkrow flew into a frenzy and propelled Cross toward them. Pikachu and the others answered, unfazed. Their bond with Ash had held strong against the dark erosion. Fanye nodded. Their bond resisted the corruption. Everyone glanced at one another and then to their partners. If that's the case, everyone, get out here. They trusted their Pokémon completely. From each of their Pokéballs came allies who had also resisted the darkness. Mega Charizard X, Super Venusaur, Mega Pidgeot, Super Blaziken, Super Gyarados. Ash even sent out Rayquaza and Groudon. The Dark Ho-Oh's control had extended across Tianqing Mountain. The number of corrupted Pokémon was overwhelming. Still, at the center of it all, only Ash and Marshadow were in a position to confront Ho-Oh directly. Marshadow, help me, Ash called. Marshadow replied, looking up at him. As Ho-Oh's messenger and shadow guide, Marshadow should have sided with Ho-Oh, yet this Ho-Oh violated everything it was meant to be. Marshadow nodded firmly. Okay. Ash produced 2 more Pokeballs. Rayquaza and Groudon, cover Marshadow. Roar, the 2 legendaries responded. Fanye, Chengzi, and Zongxi watched in stunned disbelief as Ash released Rayquaza and Groudon, gods right there under his command. Cross, still injured from trying to restrain his own Pokémon, had finally realized the true meaning of a partner. Primal Reversion, Mega Evolution, Ash called, and a surge of power washed over them. Groudon and Rayquaza glowed as primal and mega forms tried to manifest, but the Dark Ho-Oh's aura pressed down on them, suppressing their full strength. Rayquaza, Groudon, ancient power, Ash ordered. Stones rained from the sky as the 2 legendaries summoned torrents of force. Dark purple flames spat from Ho-Oh's beak and incinerated the falling rocks, but Ash's priority was buying Marshadow time. Marshadow darted toward the Rainbow Rock and snatched the lusterless Rainbow Wing. Its influence was the source of Ho-Oh's corruption. If they could remove it, the ominous power would dissipate. Marshadow! Ash shouted. Marshadow handed the wing to him. Ash immediately directed Rayquaza and Groudon. Rayquaza, Dragon Pulse, Groudon, Flamethrower! Their attacks combined into a flaming dragon that rammed Ho-Oh. Marshadow moved in for Marshadow's signature attack. Spectral Thief. Marshadow slipped behind the Dark Ho-Oh and struck with everything it had, sending the corrupted phoenix crashing to the ground. For an instant, it seemed decisive. Then, to everyone's horror, Ho-Oh's regeneration flared. The wounds it had taken knit closed almost instantly. The speed of its recovery was terrifying. If not for the combined pressure of the legendary Pokémon and the team's efforts, the dark influence might have consumed them. Fanny realized something else. Cross had, against all odds, managed to reach his rebellious Lycanroc and Honchkrow despite his injuries. He had learned what a partner really meant. Look, its colors are returning. The ominous energy is dispersing. Fanny cried, eyes bright. Then let's go all out, Ash said. Marshadow produced a black-blue sphere of light, a Z crystal, Marshadow Z. Ash took it and fitted it to his universal ring without hesitation. Rayquaza, Draco Meteor, Groudon, Rock Tomb. Rayquaza flung glowing orbs skyward. Meteors filled the air and forced the Dark Ho downward while Groudon's rocks boxed it in. Marshadow and Ash moved in at the same time. Marshadow synchronized. Let Ho-Oh see our full power, Ash shouted, and they performed the Z-move sequence together. 7-star strike. Marshadow launched 7 brilliant streaks of starlight that converged on the Dark Ho-Oh, engulfing it in a searing celestial blast. Smoke and ash blew across the battlefield. The ominous aura that had enveloped Ho-Oh dissipated. It was severely wounded. For a moment, everyone exhaled in relief. Then, without warning, dark purple flames leapt out in a sprawling wave. Rayquaza, Groudon, and Marshadow were all struck hard. Rayquaza and Groudon were forced out of their mega and primal forms. The team whooped with despair. I won't give up, Ash roared, standing shakily. Who do you think I am? I'm Ash from Pallet Town. I'll be the world's #1 Pokémon Master. I will not lose to you. At his cry, the dull rainbow wing in his hand flared to life, bathing him in 7-colored light. The energy wrapped around Ash and filled him. He felt it surge through him. He called, Pikachu! Ka! Pikachu leaped to Ash's side and was instantly surrounded by the same 7-hued radiance. The Dark Ho-Oh's purple flames rushed toward them. Ash tossed his hat to Pikachu. Pikachu snatched it midair. Ash fitted a different Z crystal into his ring, the Ash Pika Z. The two performed the synchronized moves, this time together. Million Volt. No, to the full extent. 10 million volt our ultimate, Ash screamed. Thunder rolled, the air crackled, and Pikachu let loose a colossal 7-colored discharge of electricity, 10 million volt thunderbolt, amplified by their bond and the rainbow wing. The prismatic lightning struck the dark flames. The dark energy shattered under the assault. The 7-colored electricity engulfed the dark Ho-Oh, snuffing out the ominous aura. Ho-Oh crashed to the ground, convulsed, then slowly rose, its feathers shining bright and holy once more. It was over. Relief washed over everyone. Ash and Pikachu panted, exhausted from their last desperate attack. Are you okay? The others asked, stepping forward. Xiaozhi and Xiaoyao checked him with worried hands. I'm fine, Ash managed, forcing a tired smile. Just used a lot of energy. Xiaozhi and Xiaoyao relaxed, glad he was all right. Ash took a moment to breathe and then addressed the lingering mystery. System, what exactly happened? How could a single rainbow wing corrupt Ho-Oh like that? A soft chime answered. To be continued. Chapter 144, Gift from the Phoenix King. The rewards issued by this system are always of the highest quality. This rainbow wing is not an ordinary rainbow wing. An ordinary rainbow wing only carries Ho-Oh's aura and has no other use. This rainbow wing, however, contains Ho-Oh's source power. The dark aura used the rainbow rock as a channel and the source power as a guide to invade Ho-Oh's body, driving it into a corrupted state. Ash's eyes widened. Why didn't you say that earlier? If I'd known, I would have had Rayquaza and Groudon on guard the whole time. And honestly, an ordinary rainbow wing would have been better. Ding. Host did not ask. Source rainbow wing data is loading. Source rainbow wing contains the source power of the god Ho-Oh. When worn by a fire type moves increase in power. When worn by a flying type moves increase in power. When worn by a fire-flying type, all attributes are enhanced. Hiss, system, why didn't you mark it as a source rainbow wing back then and just called it a rainbow wing? Ash demanded. After a moment's silence, the system replied, Ding, this was the system's dereliction of duty. The system will issue a compensation reward to the host. Ding, compensation reward issued, free lottery ticket. Ash's eyes lit up. He'd been burning through points left and right for one thing or another. After the battle on Tianqing Mountain, he'd earned a good chunk of points. With his previous balance, he was sitting at about 150,000 points. If it weren't for Marshadow's help in finally taking down Ho-Oh, he would have scored even more. It was a shame that capturing Pokémon didn't grant points. Otherwise, snagging the 4 legendary beasts would have padded his balance even more. Still, 3 free lottery tickets plus the fact 5 consecutive draws cost 100,000 points left him a comfortable buffer of over 50,000 points. Perfect. At that moment, Ho-Oh recovered. The black clouds scattered, a rainbow bridge descended, and Ho-Oh floated before Ash within the arching light. It spread its wings, and 7-colored radiance washed over Tianqing Mountain, restoring every Pokémon to normal. Where Ho-Oh's light touched, a rainbow flower bloomed on the rainbow rock. The flower looked toward Ash and inclined subtly in approval. Ho-Oh cast out 2 spheres, one of flame and one of pure light. The ball of flame landed on the rainbow flower and ignited a 7-colored phoenix flame there. Ho-Oh Seed, after being absorbed by a fire-type Pokémon, its power is greatly enhanced, and there is a chance to learn Ho-Oh's exclusive move, Sacred Fire. The ball of light floated to Ash's hands. When he picked it up, it was a small bell. When used simultaneously with a rainbow wing, it can summon Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh nodded once and ascended along the rainbow. An ordinary rainbow wing drifted down into Ash's hand. Since Ho-Oh knew, by nature, that the wing Ash already held contained its source power, it gifted him a regular rainbow wing as well. Everyone stepped forward, staring at the 7-colored phoenix flame and the clear bell in awe. This was the Ho-Oh Seed and the legendary clear bell. Fan Ye was especially ecstatic. After 20 years of searching, he had finally seen Ho-Oh and witnessed the birth of the rainbow hero. Charizard and Charmeleon both felt the seed's immense thermal energy and reached out. The Ho-Oh seed split in 2 and was absorbed into Charizard and Charmeleon at once. Powerful flame energy surged through them. Charizard, elite early stage. Ho-Oh seed, continuously absorbing. Superior peak, continuously absorbing. Across the clearing, Cross watched Charmeleon's sudden increase in power and sighed helplessly. After witnessing this battle, he accepted reality and turned to leave. Ash handed the Source Rainbow Wing to Charmeleon to hold. Immediately, the Source Rainbow Wing and the Ho-Oh Seed linked within Charmeleon. Moves: Sacred Fire. Ding achievement Rainbow Hero obtained. Reward Changpan Power. P.S. Due to the special nature of Changpan Power, it will be automatically issued when the host returns to Changpan Forest. At dusk, everyone arrived at the Pokémon Center to rest. Ash rotated his roster and prepared for the battle frontier. His team listed Pikachu, Eevee, Wartortle, Bagon, Growlithe, Vigoroth, Kirlia, Marshtomp, Vibrava, Melodic, Rayquaza. He fed rare candies to Vigoroth, Kirlia, and Marshtomp, bringing each of them up to Gym Leader early stage. Charmeleon went with Charizard to Charizard Valley for training. Mount Coronet there would be perfect for them to properly absorb the Ho-Oh seed. Venusaur, after the frantic free-for-all, had gained new insight. Back at Professor Oak's lab, it immediately began a full attempt to break through to quasi-elite. "Come out," Ash called into an open space. "Pika? Eevee?" "Marcia," a shadowy ripple answered, and Marshadow stepped out of the darkness. Ash held up the Marshadow Z crystal. "Did you come for this?" "Marcia!" Marshadow shook its head and met Ash's gaze with steady, determined eyes. Ash smiled softly. "I understand. You've made up your mind?" "Marcia," Marshadow nodded without hesitation. "Then welcome to the team, Marshadow." Ash swapped in a Master Ball from the system without a second thought and tossed it. Marshadow slapped the Master Ball. Bang! Capture successful. Marshadow materialized from the ball for a moment and then vanished back into the shadow at Ash's side. Ash shook his head but grinned. An extra personal bodyguard was not a bad thing. No sooner had Ash lain down than the system chimed again. Ding achievement, Master of Divine Rank obtained. System recycling function enabled. System recycling function, various items or Z crystals, etc. can be recycled, giving the host points equal to 80% of their price in the point store. "System, you're taking 20% of my points," Ash protested, frowning. "Ding! The host may choose not to use this function." Ash gave up with a sigh. "Fine. System, open the Megastone Lottery Wheel." Megastone Lottery Wheel successfully opened. Facing the familiar wheel, Ash took a deep breath. "Let's go, System. 5 consecutive draws." Ding! Deduction successful. Lottery wheel is starting to spin. Please, host, say stop. "Stop!" he shouted 5 times in succession. 2 gray lights, 2 white lights, and 1 purple blinked into existence. Ash stared at the 2 gray lights in disbelief. How could he be so unlucky? He could hit 2 grays with a small probability, sure, but why didn't he land any of the golds that also had a 10% chance? "System, are you rigging this?" he demanded. "With a 10% chance I get 2 thank you for your patronage grays, but none of the legendary megastones? Did you do this on purpose to get back the 3 free lottery tickets?" Ding, the host is unlucky. Ash had no proof, so his protest went nowhere. He opened the 2 white and 1 purple balls with trembling hands, praying silently. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Beedrillite. Ash's face fell. Congratulations. My foot. He had just spent 150,000 points and pulled a megastone worth maybe 10,000. He forced himself to open the rest. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Salamensite. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Electivirite. Ash exhaled in relief when he saw Electivirite. It wasn't the jackpot, but it wasn't a total waste either. He could catch and train an Elekid or Electabuzz later. He couldn't help grinning despite himself. To be continued. Chapter 145, The Power of Tokiwa, Farewell to Misty. The next morning, Ash and the others arrived at a fork in the road. Zongqi and Chengzi each stood on one of the paths. Zongqi smiled. Then let's say goodbye here. I'm going to investigate the legends of Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno next. Chengzi, standing on the other path, smiled and asked, I plan to go home first. I've been missing my mom a little. What about you, Ash? Ash returned the smile. I'm heading to challenge the battle frontier, so I'll take that way. Well then, goodbye. Everyone waved as they parted. After bidding Chengzi and Zongxi farewell, the group headed back toward Viridian Forest. Xiao Sheng held the navigator and announced, the first battle facility, the Battle Factory, is near Cerulean City. Xiao Xia brightened at the news. That meant she could stay with Ash a little longer. But when they entered Viridian Forest, Ash suddenly stopped in his tracks. Huh? Ash, what's wrong? Xiao Yao asked, stepping forward. A chime sounded from the navigator. Ding. Host detected arrival at Viridian Forest. Tokiwa power is being bestowed. Leaves rustled through the dense wood as a faint green light shimmered from each tree. The lights converged into a single orb of green energy that hovered before them and flowed into Ash. Ash! The group cried. Ash closed his eyes as a warm green glow spread through him. Pikachu and Eevee, perched on his shoulders, relaxed into the comforting warmth. The glow drew a crowd of wild Pokémon deeper in the forest. What? What's happening? Someone whispered. Xiaogang's eyes widened as he remembered the local legend. Those recognized by Viridian Forest are granted Tokiwa power. Tokiwa power, he blurted. As a Kanto native, Xiao Xia knew the story too. She stared at Ash in shock. He had become a child of Tokiwa. Xiao Sheng and Xiao Yao looked puzzled, but from the name it sounded like something akin to aura, a powerful latent ability. The green light faded and merged into Ash, and the navigator chimed again. Ding! Congratulations, host. Tokiwa power awakened. Ash opened his eyes and held out a finger. Threads of green energy, like fine silken cords, wound around it. Is this the legendary Tokiwa power? Everyone stared at the glowing filaments on Ash's finger, then looked at him with a mix of awe and envy. Ash scratched the back of his head sheepishly and nodded. After all, it had come from Viridian Forest. What else could it be? A larger beedrill suddenly appeared, followed by its breeding family, the dominant group of Viridian Forest, driving off the other Pokémon. The beedrill at the front was the leader. Pikachu immediately took a battle stance and its elite aura flared. The leader beedrill regarded the yellow mouse in surprise. Pikachu's elite level had convinced it that they were dealing with someone significant. The beedrill began to wave its stinger back and forth. Two ordinary beedrill then brought a Weedle and presented it to Ash, aiming their large stingers first at the Weedle, then at him. Ash understood instantly. You want me to take it? The leader nodded, tossed the Weedle before Ash, and the family turned and flew away. The Weedle gave a reluctant cry. This was one of the beedrill's offspring. Seeing Ash awaken Tokiwa power and Pikachu's elite aura, the parents had decided to try to secure a better future for their child. Once the beedrill family was out of sight, the Weedle turned to Ash with resolve. Ash smiled and pulled out a Pokeball. Little guy, I'll train you to get stronger. We'll challenge your father. Let him see how far you've come. The Weedle touched the Pokeball's button with its head needle and was caught immediately. Type, Bug, Poison. Ability, Run Away, always escapes wild battles. Strength, Normal, Late Stage. Moves, Poison Sting, String Shot, Bug Bite. Dynamax attribute, Bug. Ash thought for a moment, then sent Wartortle back to the Pokeball. After a short rest, the group continued. Growlithe and the new Weedle handled any ordinary wild Pokemon they met, and with Tokiwa Power Ash could heal their injuries quickly. A few energy cubes finished the job. By the time they reached Mount Moon, the Weedle had evolved into Kakuna, reached normal late-stage strength, and learned Harden. On Mount Moon, they once again watched Clefairy's moonlit dance. After they descended, Xiaoxia's phone buzzed relentlessly. 3 messages from her princesses urging her to return at once, or they'd send the badges. Though she had hoped to travel with Ash a bit longer, she had to go back. She walked away under Ash and the others' watchful eyes, glancing back every few steps before finally waving goodbye. With Xiaoxia gone, the team returned to its usual Hoenn travel group. Xiao Yao was secretly pleased. Without Xiaoxia around, she could have Ash to herself. Ash breathed in relief too. With 2 girls on the team who were both vying for his attention, things had felt more complicated than he liked. After bidding Xiaoxia farewell, they walked through the forest until trouble struck again. As the sun dipped toward the west, Xiao Sheng frowned at the navigator. This path should go this way. Xiao Sheng, have you figured it out yet? Xiao Yao snapped, hands on her hips. The sun's almost set. Xiao Gang compared the map in his travel book and finally concluded, I must have taken a wrong turn. There was a heavy silence. The group's sense of direction had let them down yet again. Xiao Sheng protested. No, that's not it, it's close. We'll get there soon. But under his guidance, they only got more lost. Finally, he admitted it. I'm sorry, maybe I used the navigator wrong. Nobody blamed him. They sighed and began to prepare to camp nearby. The night was beautiful. A bright moon, sparse stars, and a cool breeze through the trees. Xiao Yao relaxed. The starry sky is so beautiful tonight. Xiao Gang had just finished dinner and smiled. The mountain air is the cleanest. They ate beneath the stars when icy blue snowflakes began to drift down. It's snowing? Xiao Sheng reached out and felt the cold flakes on his palm. Suddenly, a flying shape streaked across the starry sky. Ash gasped. That's to be continued. Chapter 146. Battle against the factory in Articuno. No sooner had he finished speaking than a sky-blue, bird-shaped Pokemon swooped toward Ash and the others. Articuno! Everyone cried in shock. Xiao Gang, trying to stay calm, asked in bewilderment, why would there be an Articuno in a place like this? Legendaries like Articuno usually live high in snow-capped mountains. This region was warm, hardly a natural habitat for it. Articuno's status flashed in Ash's mind, quasi-heavenly king peak. A memory of Charizard's legendary battle stirred too. No wonder Charizard could beat this Articuno in the original story. This one was stuck at the elite threshold. The Charizard Ash had poured so many resources into could definitely outmatch it. Before anyone could react, Articuno spread its wings and rose into the night sky. At the same time, the distant sound of an engine grew louder. Ash and the others looked up and saw an old-fashioned plane flying alongside Articuno. Then the plane began belching thick black smoke, obscuring their view. When the smoke thinned, both the plane and Articuno were gone. They gave chase. After circling the forest for a long time without success, they finally stumbled upon the Pokémon Center, a welcome sight that saved them from camping out. No one was happier than Xiaogang, though his celebration was quickly tempered by Xiao Sheng and Spinda's scolding. After a night's rest, Ash sent Kirlia back into its Pokeball and made a plan. He would head for the battle frontier and challenge the battle factory. He asked Nurse Joy for directions. "Are you going to the battle frontier? I know roughly where the battle factory is." Nurse Joy began, but she was interrupted. "Nurse Joy, let me take them to the battle factory," Atsushi called from the entrance. He stepped forward, having waited at the nearest center to the battle factory for challengers. "Mr. Atsushi," Ash greeted with a smile. "Pika Pika." "Eevee," the others chimed. Atsushi smiled back. He and Xiao Yao exchanged introductions before Atsushi drove them straight for the battle factory, pressing the accelerator as if the road were burning. He got them there as fast as possible, pride in his voice. "Here it is, the battle factory," he announced. He knew the facility well. Every battle facility had been built with his investment. Suddenly a roar came from inside. The building shook. Atsushi's smile vanished. No way, not again. With a deafening crash, the steel gate burst open. Dust and smoke billowed out as a metal war vehicle slammed through and barreled straight toward them. "What is that?" Xiao Yao blurted. Xiao Gang reacted first, pushing Xiao Yao and her brother out of the path. "Run!" Ash stayed calm. He pulled out a friend ball and called, "I choose you, Tyranitar." Roar! The desert tyrant materialized where indicated. Tyranitar planted its feet and stomped the ground, halting the war machine dead in its tracks. Atsushi whistled. As expected of Ash's Pokémon, incredible strength. The hatch on top of the war vehicle opened, and a man in work clothes climbed out, rubbing his head. "This wild thing's impossible to handle. It won't obey me at all," he muttered, then added a grateful, "Thank you. Thanks to you," it finally stopped. "Dara, you're still the same," Atsushi sighed as he came over. Dara puffed up with pride. "It's a masterpiece I made. This is the Dara J9, a steam-powered war machine I built myself. Stylish, right?" Xiao Yao and Xiao Sheng exchanged looks. Neither thought it looked particularly stylish. Atsushi pressed his forehead with a hand and said, "Dara, introduce yourself properly." "There isn't much to say," Dara shrugged. "I'm basically the manager of this battle factory, the factory head. In other words, the battle factory's frontier brain," Atsushi paraphrased. Ash extended his hand. "I'm Ash from Pallet Town. I've come to challenge the battle factory." Dara eyed Tyranitar and felt his competitive spark ignite. "Of course. Bring it on. Want to start now? Let's go. Everyone, get ready. It's time to eat the energy blocks." Dara and his senior disciple Sugio called, and Dara's Pokémon gathered around. Rhydon, Burloom, Venusaur, Sandslash, Pinsir, Macamp, Rhyhorn, Camerupt. Their lineup was formidable. The centerpiece was Venusaur, already at quasi-heavenly king, mid-stage. Munchlax darted out and began eating the energy blocks, prompting Xiao Yao to shout, "No, Munchlax!" Sugio waved a hand. "Don't worry, there are plenty of blocks." "These are all Mr. Dara's Pokémon?" Ash asked, impressed by their conditioning. "The more Pokémon you have, the more varied your strategies can be," Dara said with a grin. He then asked Ash which of his Pokémon he wanted to face. "Can I pick?" Ash asked. "Sure, however you want," Dara replied confidently. Ash had already used Aura to locate Articuno, so he pointed to one of the warehouses without hesitation. "I challenge that one." Articuno immediately took flight from the warehouse. Dara's expression tightened. He hadn't expected it to be exposed so quickly. "Articuno!" Atsushi exclaimed, surprised and a little resentful as he glanced at Dara. "I work hard to support this place, and you kept a trump card hidden from me." It's not my Pokémon, Dara hastened to explain, feeling Atsushi's glare. He had picked up a wild Articuno during a flight test. It was migrating toward the snowy mountains when he found it with wounded wings. Dara had nursed it back to health, and the bird had become a regular visitor who came around for food. It's a wild Pokémon that likes to come here, he said. Articuno, Ash wants to challenge you. What do you think? Woo! Articuno cried and nodded, accepting the challenge. Dara's fighting spirit flared. All right, Ash, I won't go easy on you. They moved to the spacious battlefield. Articuno had already settled on the ground. Xiaoyao gasped. Articuno is so beautiful, it would steal the show at any gorgeous contest. Ash sent Tyranitar out without hesitation. Xiaogang, Xiaoyao, and Xiaosheng took seats in the spectator stands, led there by Atsushi. Go for it, they shouted. Starting now, the Battle Frontier match between Ash of Pallet Town and Factory Head Dara, Sugio announced. The stadium roof opened. A huge advantage for a flying type like Articuno. Ash wasn't phased. Tyranitar was rock-type, and rock-type moves are 4 times as effective against an ice-flying Pokémon like Articuno. Ready, begin! To be continued. Chapter 147, Super Tyranitar vs. Articuno. As the roof of the arena opened, the Team Rocket trio on top immediately started swearing. They had planned to swoop in after Ash and Articuno exhausted each other, but they'd been tricked by the battle stage. When Atsushi announced the match start, they stumbled and fell right into the arena. Team Rocket, everyone shouted. Hearing the commotion, the trio paid no attention to anything else and launched into their opening speech. I hear. Sorry, I don't want to hear it right now. Ash cut them off, staring speechless. They were sandwiched between Articuno on the left and Tyranitar on the right, and they still had the nerve to give a speech. Pikachu, send them back with Thunderbolt. Pikachu! Pikachu unleashed a powerful golden current and blasted Team Rocket away. We didn't even finish our opening speech. How annoying, Jessie cried. Meowth! Meowth complained in his own way. All right, the disturbance is gone. Mr. Dara, let's continue, Ash said, turning back to his opponent. Bring it on, Dara replied. Facing a legendary Pokémon, Ash did not underestimate it. He activated the bond ring and shouted, Tyranitar, show our bond, Mega Evolution. Tyranitar's keystone and its megastone emitted linked genetic light chains in the air. A blinding white flash followed, and Super Tyranitar emerged with a roar, whipping a sandstorm across the field. Super Quasi-Elite. Tyranitar's base stats had already been higher than Articuno's, and after Mega Evolution it overwhelmed the legendary in power, its only downside being it could no longer fly. Is this Mega Evolution? I've never seen it before, Atsushi said with a smile. Articuno, ascend rapidly. Dara clearly wanted to use the aerial advantage. Tyranitar, Dragon Dance. Ash called to buff his partner. Psybeam. Dara struck first. Stone Edge. Ash answered, unafraid of a head-on clash. Super Tyranitar condensed massive stones, which collided with the ice blue Psybeam and sent chunks of ice rock flying at Articuno. Quick, dodge, Dara shouted. Fortunately, although the sandstorm slowed it down, Articuno's legendary speed let it evade the attack easily. Dara breathed a sigh of relief, secretly shocked that a legendary Pokémon couldn't dominate Tyranitar in a straight-up fight. Tyranitar, use Smackdown to bring it down, Ash commanded. Roar. Super Tyranitar condensed a giant boulder above Articuno and smashed it into the ground. Quick, Rock Tomb. Don't let it escape. Ash seized the chance and ordered the trap. Super Tyranitar slammed the ground, and several huge rocks shot up around Articuno, trapping it. Articuno, use Steel Wing and spin, Dara barked. Dark Pulse, Ash countered. A black energy sphere formed in Super Tyranitar's maw and shot toward Articuno. White light flared from Articuno's wings as it spun, shattering the giant rocks, breaking free, and dodging the dark pulse. Ash's Tyranitar is like a war cannon, standing still and relentlessly dealing damage. It's even pressuring Articuno, Atsushi praised. Of course, my brother-in-law's Pokémon are all strong, Xiaosheng said proudly. He was more casual calling Ash brother-in-law these days, and Xiaoyao no longer tried to stop him. Dara immediately countered. Articuno, use Water Pulse. Tyranitar, Dragon Claw to block. Super Tyranitar's arms formed massive emerald dragon claws that crossed before its body and took the Water Pulse head-on. The sandstorm began to fade. Articuno, use Mist, then Steel Wing, Dara ordered without hesitation. Articuno sprayed a thick mist to obscure Ash and Tyranitar's vision, then flared white light from its wings in preparation for a surprise strike. In that case, Tyranitar, use Aerial Ace, Ash called. Just as Articuno burst from the mist and dove towards Super Tyranitar, the guaranteed hit Aerial Ace turned the tide. Tyranitar's small, bladed paw slammed into Articuno's steel wing. Boosted by its massive physical power and the Dragon Dance enhancement, Super Tyranitar sent Articuno flying. What? Dara cried, stunned to see Super Tyranitar counter with Aerial Ace. Articuno lived up to its legendary endurance. It flew back up. Tyranitar, Flamethrower and Stone Edge, combination move, Lava Shot, Ash ordered. Articuno, all out, Giga Impact stacked with Brave Bird, Dara answered. Both trainers unleashed devastating collision moves at the same time, piling immense burden on Articuno. The sky lit with fury as Articuno dove through the Lava Shot, refusing to be turned aside. It then aimed its strongest strike at Super Tyranitar. Tyranitar, meet it head-on. Thunder Fang, Ash roared. Super Tyranitar formed thunder fangs of electricity and fire and slammed into Articuno. There was a tremendous explosion. Smoke and dust filled the arena. Everyone watched, breath held. As the smoke cleared, two badly injured Pokémon stood facing each other. Tyranitar had already reverted from its mega state. Articuno let out a long, pained cry and collapsed. Tyranitar! Tyranitar roared triumphantly into the sky. Ash's Pokémon had won. What a spectacular match! Xiaozhi exclaimed. Everyone nodded in agreement. The battle showed that, at equal levels, an ordinary Pokémon could defeat a godlike legendary given the right circumstances. Well done, Tyranitar, Ash said with a smile. Roar! Tyranitar answered. Congratulations, Ash. This is the symbol of the battle frontier you earn by winning battles here, Dara said, handing over a medal. This one is called the Symbol of Knowledge, proof that you defeated me here at the battle frontier. Please accept it. Dara handed Ash the Symbol of Knowledge and a collection box to store the symbols. Their next target was the battle arena. According to Xiaozhi, it was near Saffron City. Hearing Saffron City made Ash and Xiaozhi flinch. Unpleasant memories surfaced. Ding! Battle Frontier Achievement unlocked. For each symbol of the frontier obtained, you receive 5,000 points. Conquering the frontier grants a mysterious reward. Ding! Obtained Symbol of Knowledge. Reward, 5,000 points. Congratulations to the host for defeating a legendary Pokémon one-on-one for the first time. Achievement, Defeat Legendary obtained. Reward, Ampel. Congratulations to the host for defeating a legendary Pokémon with an ordinary Pokémon. Achievement, Overthrow God obtained. Reward, Ability Patch X1. Seeing the generous rewards, Ash felt like he'd struck gold. Articuno had given him an incredible gift. In high spirits, Ash and his companions set off toward Saffron City. To be continued. Chapter 148, Meet Xiaozhi, the Windspeed Dog. Xiaozhi's group, bound for Saffron City, once again plunged into the forest. They had been walking for days when, to their surprise, Xiaoyao led them to a little cake shop hidden among the trees. There was a long line stretching out the door. Do we really have to wait this long just for cake? Ash groaned, staring at the queue. Xiaoyao clung to him, pouting and batting her eyelashes. Ash, don't be impatient. According to the food guide, the cake's here. A sudden bark cut her off. Everyone looked up as a majestic Arcanine raced toward them through the trees. That's an Arcanine, and it looks wild, Ash exclaimed, stunned. A wild Arcanine appearing like that was unbelievable. Isn't Arcanine the evolved form of Growlithe? Xiaoyao's eyes shone. She'd always thought Ash's Growlithe was adorable, and the sight of that Arcanine had already captured her imagination. I want to catch it. Before anyone could move, a familiar voice shouted, Arcanine, wait! They turned to see Xiaozhi running in, Flygon at his side. Flygon, Flamethrower, Xiaozhi ordered. Flygon sprayed a jet of fire, but the Arcanine dodged cleanly. It snarled, sent a heat wave that knocked Flygon back, then flashed off in an instant with extreme speed. Damn it, Xiaozhi ground his teeth. The Arcanine he had almost caught had slipped away again. Xiaozhi, what are you doing in Kanto? Xiaoyao called. Yeah, what a surprise. Xiaozhi shrugged, then turned his attention to Ash. Ash, are you entering the Kanto region's gorgeous competition this time? Ash had won in Hoenn and was now a top coordinator. Competing in Kanto was a matter of collecting more points, and he nodded. He had to join if he wanted to earn those points. I'll beat you there, Xiaoshun said arrogantly, opening a small case to reveal a ribbon badge that looked different from the usual Kanto style. I've always wanted to win. Is that a Kanto gorgeous competition ribbon? Xiaoyao breathed, jealous. I don't even have one yet. I knew it. If I win in Kanto, I need a strong partner. That Arcanine would be perfect, Xiaoshun said with a grin. Over my dead body. That Arcanine is mine. Xiaoyao snapped. Xiaoshun waved a hand and walked off with Flygon. Whatever you say, I doubt you stand a chance. Enraged, Xiaoyao dragged Ash and the others after him. I can lose to anyone but you, Xiaoshun, she muttered. Ash, seeing her determination, released Growlithe. Growlithe, bred by the Jenny family and an excellent tracker, quickly picked up the scent and led them on. Soon they found the Arcanine. Tucked into a thicket, it was stuffing sweet peaches into its thick fur, as if stashing them away. Nearby, a litter of newborn Growlithe squirmed in a nest. It's taking food for its pups, Ash realized. Those little ones are its family. Perfect chance. Blaziken, go! Xiaoyao cried, throwing out her Pokeball. Blaziken leapt forward, but the sudden move startled the Arcanine and it bolted. Blaziken chased, but Arcanine used extreme speed again and was gone. Don't worry, Ash said, smiling. Growlithe has its scent. We'll find them again. Just then, a large net dropped from the sky and caught several of the pups. What's going on? Xiaoshun shouted, arriving with Flygon again. Team Rocket's hot air balloon hovered overhead. Team Rocket, give those Growlithe back. Xiaoyao yelled. Like that's going to happen. Jessie scolded Meowth, who had triggered the net. You caught a whole group of Growlithe. Accident, Meow, Meowth protested, then fired the net again, this time snagging the rushing Arcanine as well. Perfect, Meow. Team Rocket, blast off, they shouted, lifting the net and preparing to make a run for it, but their escape didn't go smoothly. Beedrill, agility, then Twin Needle, Ash ordered. His Beedrill surged with speed, a yellow flash in the sky. Twin Needle sliced through the hot air balloon's fabric, tearing a hole so the balloon began to lose altitude and crashed toward the forest. Flygon, Steel Wing, Xiaoshun shouted. A streak of metal blue wings cut through the net and shreds of balloon fabric. The net burst, freeing Arcanine, which scooped up its pups and dashed away. Darn it, Meow! All that hard work, Meow! Meowth cried in frustration. Go, Cacnea! Pin Missile! James called, sending out Cacnea. It fired a barrage of sharp needles. Ow, that stings! Blaziken, Flamethrower! Xiaoyao shouted. Blaziken unleashed a column of fire that burned through the needles and surged toward Cacnea, only for Wobbuffet to fling itself in front and reflect the attack. Blaziken followed up with Flame Kick to shatter the reflected flame. Dustox, hovering nearby, unleashed Poison Needle, while Cacnea raised a sandstorm to obscure the battlefield. Flamethrower! Blaziken and Flygon roared in unison. Their combined fire cut through the sand and poison, blasting the Team Rocket balloon and forcing it to crash in a fiery heap. What a rotten feeling! Jessie and James wailed as they tumbled out of the wreckage. Sonansu! Wobbuffet squealed in dismay. With the pups safe and Arcanine gone, Xiaoshun gave a quick nod. There's a gorgeous competition coming up in Saffron City, he said, but I'm going to catch a new partner instead, so I won't be competing. And with that, he and Flygon turned and left. Ash, Xiaoyao, and the rest resumed their journey to Saffron City. Before they left, Xiaoyao couldn't forget the cake. She dragged Ash back into the line, and after another hour of waiting, finally got to eat the cake she'd been craving. To be continued. Chapter 148, Arriving in Saffron City, the Vermilion Conference. To challenge Ash and the others at the battle frontier, they had come to Saffron City. Ash and Xiaoyao planned to enter the upcoming gorgeous competition being held at the Saffron Hall. All right, Blaziken, Melodic, Munchlax, and Squirtle, onto the stage, Xiaoyao said eagerly, pointing at the venue. Look, that's the Saffron Hall for the gorgeous competition. Woo! Xiamo, Blaziken, and Melodic, used to the stage, echoed her excitement, while Squirtle and Munchlax yawned boredly. Xiaoyao's Bulbasaur wasn't with them. After Ash had returned Venusaur to Professor Oak, Xiaoyao had sent Bulbasaur to Oak's lab to be trained by Venusaur for a while. Inside, people were already bringing their Pokémon into the hall. Isn't the competition tomorrow? Why is everyone going in now? Ash wondered. Xiaoyao hurried forward, holding Squirtle. Excuse me, can we go in now? Yes, came the answer. The day before the competition is open day. Coordinators can enter the venue to get a feel for the stage and plan their performances. The gorgeous competition rules had been refined, allowing an open day so contestants could adapt to the stage beforehand. They went in without hesitation. Staff were still adjusting lights when a familiar figure stood center stage. "It's almost time for the final inspection," someone called. She turned and answered, "Okay." Xiaoyao pointed. "Huh? Is that Vivian?" The woman looked very similar, but there was something different. The aura is similar, but not quite. She must be related to Vivian. Ash used his intuition. Yeah, probably a relative. At that moment, 3 spotlights hit the center of the stage. "Sylveon, it's your turn." Sylveon glided out in a dazzling display. As expected for the gorgeous competition's MC Pokémon, Sylveon's pink fur gleamed under the lights, soft and radiant. It performed a combination of swift and psychic, forming shining halos. Sylveon leapt through the rings with effortless grace, showing off agility and charm. Squirtle, cradled in Xiaoyao's arms, had stars in its eyes. As Sylveon prepared to finish, Squirtle squirmed free and ignored Xiaoyao's attempts to stop it. It hopped onto the stage, gleefully blowing bubbles that sparkled under the spotlights. The MC chuckled and picked Squirtle up. "You can't do that, little one." Xiaoyao hurried over, apologizing. "I'm so sorry. That's my Squirtle. Visiting is fine, but you can't run onto the stage," the MC told her, smiling as she handed Squirtle back. Then she looked closely and brightened. "Ah, you're Ash, champion of the last Hoenn Grand Festival, and you're Xiaoyao, right? Are you entering the Saffron Gorgeous competition?" she asked. Ash and Xiaoyao nodded. "Your Squirtle is really spirited," she said. "Let it perform freely on stage tomorrow." Squirtle nodded excitedly. Xiaoyao hesitated. "It still needs practice." "Hello, everyone. My name is Lillian, and I'll be the MC for the Kanto Gorgeous competition. Please take care of me." The woman introduced herself with a bright smile. "May I ask, what's your relationship to Vivian?" Xiaoyao asked. Lillian made a face. "Ah, she's my princess. Honestly, it's kind of funny. Someone that old still wearing that frillish style dress." Her tone was teasingly disdainful. Back at the Pokémon Center later, Ash sent Tyranitar and Melodic into storage and returned Butterfree and its mate. He planned to use them in the gorgeous competition. Xiaoyao fretted. "Ash, what should I do? Squirtle is eager, but it's never entered a gorgeous competition." Ash smiled. "You should decide for yourself." Xiaogang and Xiaosheng weren't convinced. They suggested Xiaoyao use Beautifly or Melodic instead, safer choices. But Xiaoyao rejected them. She wanted Squirtle to make its debut and start fresh with the Pokémon she had now. After the checkups, the person who brought their Pokémon out was Harry. He'd been helping at the Pokémon Center and claimed to have turned over a new leaf. He first told Xiaoyao something true. Different Pokémon can be used for performances and for battles. Then he lied. He said Hoenn passports could still be used to register until 11 o'clock. Ash couldn't hold back. "Harry, how can you lie like that? Registration closes at 10. "What?" Xiaoyao clenched her fists, furious she'd been misled. "Harry." At that moment, Musashi arrived carrying Cacnea, and Harry hurried off to help. Ash and Xiaoyao went to register right away so they wouldn't be late. Xiaoyao gritted her teeth, looking at her new passport. "That Harry lied to me again. Wait until the competition. I'll teach him a lesson." The next day at the Saffron venue, Lillian's voice rang out. "It's showtime. A remix of Love and Dreams presented by Pokémon Coordinators, the Pokémon Contest. Let's all bring energy to the Vermilion Conference." "Everyone, please follow my lead, Lillian." The crowd responded. Compared to Vivian, Lillian was more energetic and easily fired up the audience. Xiaogang was swept up too. "No matter what, I'll follow you." Ash and Xiaoyao arrived at the resting area. Ash entrusted Eevee and Pikachu to Xiaogang and Xiaosheng while he prepared. Xiaoyao's lineup was set: Blaziken, the seasoned performer, and Squirtle for the 5-minute gorgeous competition. Squirtle was only at the late normal stage in training, so using it in competition was risky. But she had no other option, and most of the participants in the Kanto Gorgeous competition were beginners. Xiaoyao still had a good chance. Lillian held up the prize. "The winner of this conference will receive the Saffron Ribbon Badge." She displayed the ribbon for everyone to see. Collect 5 ribbon badges from gorgeous competitions in various regions, and you'll earn qualification for the grand festival. So aim for that honor. Do your best. Her words ignited the contestants' enthusiasm. All right, it's time for the first round. Coordinators, prepare your Pokémon moves. Are you ready? The crowd cheered as Lillian stirred the atmosphere. Even Xiao Gang sighed at how lively the Kanto Gorgeous competition was. Now let's invite contestant number 1 to the stage. Here we go. Go, the audience cheered. To be continued. Chapter 150. Get the first performer on stage was Harry, who might already have been trying to trick Xiao Yao. With his ace cacturn, he put on an unusual routine that still earned him a respectable score. The acts that followed seemed ordinary by comparison, until Musashi, performing under the name Musashi Bion, took the stage. Her routine was dramatic and extreme. She clung to her cacnea in a display of self-harm, finishing with a final pin missile that collided and burst into fireworks. Xiao Yao handed Squirtle to Ash and stepped up to perform. She tossed her bandana into the air. Blaziken, use Flame Vortex, then Sky Uppercut. The blast of heat from Flame Vortex lifted the bandana. Blaziken flew through the vortex, struck the bandana with a precise Sky Uppercut, folded it neatly and set it back on Xiao Yao's head. A show of perfect timing and trust. And now the final contestant, the previous Hoenn Grand Festival winner, Xiaozhi, announced Lillian. Ash strode onto the stage. I choose you, Butterfree. A pink Butterfree drifted out, flapping its wings and scattering sparkling paralyzed powder under the lights. The crowd roared at the sight. String shot, then quiver dance. Butterfree spun silk threads and danced gracefully, showing off every elegant movement. Finish with confusion, then Psybeam. The pink Butterfree sent colorful beams into the air. Confusion warped them into shards of light that rained down like a rainbow. That concludes the first round judging. The results are in. After a fair and strict review, the 8 coordinators advancing to the next round are Musashi, Harry, Xiao Yao, and Ash were all on the list. To Ash's surprise, Musashi had taken first place in this round with her self-sacrificing performance. In the group stage of the gorgeous competition, 5-minute battles, Ash and Xiao Yao faced ordinary opponents, while Harry and Musashi went head-to-head. Ash won easily with his reliable Butterfree. Xiao Yao, using Squirtle, also defeated her adversary without much trouble. The Harry versus Musashi match, however, got interesting. Harry fielded his new Ariados, and Musashi brought out Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet's presence stalled Harry completely. If Harry refused to attack, Wobbuffet couldn't do much, and neither of them wanted to trade blows. Miss Lillian grew exasperated and docked points from both combatants. Eventually, Harry found a trick. He used the non-damaging string shot to manipulate Wobbuffet like a puppet, turning the crowd's sympathy into a penalty and causing Musashi's score to slide, which let Harry take the win. In the second round, Ash handled another ordinary opponent with ease. The match everyone was waiting for was Xiao Yao versus Harry. Squirtle against Ariados. On paper, Squirtle was outmatched. She was still young and lower level, but Harry underestimated her. Instead of finishing things quickly, he let Ariados toy with Squirtle to humiliate her. He paid for that mistake. Squirtle's Psybeam struck Ariados' string shot, freezing the strands into a dazzling web of ice. Ariados kept slipping on the frozen silk until it was finally knocked out by Xiao Yao's tackle. The final match had arrived, Ash against Xiao Yao. The Vermilion contest has reached its final bout, the announcer cried. On one side, Xiao Yao, who turned the tide from adversity. On the other, Xiaozhi, who has cruised through his matches. Who will take the Vermilion ribbon? Ash, don't hold back, Xiao Yao said seriously. Ash smiled and nodded. Don't worry, let's go. Squirtle, take the stage, Xiao Yao called. I choose you, Butterfree, Ash answered. The battle between Kanto's water-type starter and its regional bug began. Squirtle, bubble, Xiao Yao ordered. Xiao Yao had considered switching to Blaziken. Its strength would have given her a better chance against Butterfree, but Squirtle was riding a winning streak and full of fighting spirit, so she stuck with her. Butterfree, string shot, then sweep, Ash commanded. Butterfree spun white silk and used it to burst through Squirtle's bubbles. Xiao Yao's score slipped. Squirtle, water gun, Xiao Yao clenched her teeth. Butterfree dodged the attack with ease. Butterfree, air slash. Ash pressed the advantage. The wind knocked toward Squirtle, and Xiao Yao barked, Squirtle, withdraw! Squirtle drew into its shell. The gust slammed into the shell but caused no damage. Psybeam! Butterfree fired a colorful beam without hesitation. Squirtle, Psybeam! Xiaoyao answered. Squirtle's Psybeam control wasn't perfect, but she had to go on the offensive. The two Psybeams collided in a dazzling explosion that lit the arena. Both coordinators' scores dropped as a result. Butterfree, paralyze Powder, then Hurricane, Ash ordered. Butterfree blanketed Squirtle in powder and whipped up a powerful wind. Squirtle, don't give up! Bubble! Xiaoyao shouted, and Squirtle released a torrent of bubbles to push back. Butterfree's techniques, however, proved superior. The paralyzed Powder clung to Squirtle and stunned her. Xiaoyao's score plunged. Final tackle. Butterfree dove and struck Squirtle, sending her flying. The match ended. Xiaoyao's score fell to 0. And with that, the Vermilion ribbon goes to Xiaozhi. The winner of the Vermilion contest is Xiaozhi. The crowd erupted in cheers. Ash had earned his first ribbon in the Kanto region. Back at the Pokémon Center, he released his Butterfree pair to rest and decided to send Rayquaza back as well. Rayquaza tended to stay in its Pokeball anyway, and with Marshadow lingering nearby, Ash wasn't worried about it being unsafe. He also returned Sceptile and Combusken to their Pokeballs. After regrouping, Ash met Xiaogang and the others. Xiaoyao and her brother were mid-argument. One wanted ramen, the other wanted to visit the fighting gym. Ash naturally sided with his girlfriend. Since the fighting gym in Saffron City wasn't an official facility, Xiaogang stepped in as a mediator to smooth things over. In the end, the four split into two pairs. Ash and Xiaoyao went off to eat ramen, while Xiaogang took Xiaosheng to visit the fighting gym. To be continued. Chapter 151, Fighting Dojo. As soon as Ash arrived at the ramen shop, he regretted it. The line stretched out the door, no less crowded than the forest cake shop had been back then. Ash and Xiaoyao had no choice but to join the queue. Half an hour later, they were almost at the entrance. Xiaoyao brightened. I heard the best thing about this place is the battle ramen. Battle ramen? Sounds amazing, Ash said, nodding. Click, the ramen shop door flew open. A girl with twin ponytails and a short skirt dragged a young man in a chef's hat and apron out into the street. The young man resisted. Wait, Sugio, I still have work to do. What are you talking about, Kotaro? You have more important things to do. Sugio insisted, pulling him along. Right now, my most important job is to make delicious battle ramen. Kotaro kept struggling. No, you're wrong, he protested, but Sugio pulled him away. He looked utterly resigned as he was dragged off. Hey, if you close now, what about our ramen? The people in line shouted. Did they close early today? Xiaoyao hissed. She had just realized the person being dragged away was the chef, and her face went red with anger. Ash took a step back instinctively. Chase him, Ash. Xiaoyao grabbed Ash and sprinted after them. They weren't the only ones running. Inside the nearby fighting gym, Xiaogang and Xiaosheng were on their hands and knees, scrubbing the floor for the gym leader, Hamaguri. Suddenly, a voice came from outside. Let go of me. No, I absolutely won't let go. Please. Sugio and Kotaro walked in. Ah, a beautiful lady. Xiaogang leapt up and rushed forward, while Xiaosheng pulled him back, mortified. Please come back and make ramen, someone begged. Xiaoyao and Ash arrived right behind them. Princess, brother-in-law, people called out. Xiaosheng, Xiaogang, Suguyo exclaimed. Why are you here? They all said at once. After a few explanations, the situation became clear. Grandpa Hamaguri had forcibly taken Xiaogang and Xiaosheng on as disciples to keep the fighting gym running, but neither of them wanted the job. Kotaro, it turned out, was Hamaguri's son. The old man wanted his son to inherit the gym, but Kotaro only wanted to open a ramen shop. That disagreement had sparked the argument. Suguyo looked apologetic. I'm sorry it's come to this. It's okay. Ash waved it off. He hadn't lost anything. Xiaosheng, curious, asked, wouldn't it be better to just keep things as they are? Suguyo shook her head. The problem is Master himself doesn't have the will to keep going. At that, everyone groaned. The father and son were still going at it. I still have big dreams. I can't stay inside a gym forever, Hamaguri shouted. Kotaro shot back, then tell me what your big dream actually is, Hamaguri snorted. A man's dream isn't something you can just blurt out. You're dodging the question, Kotaro said. In short, I want you to close the ramen shop and inherit the gym. Hamaguri snapped. Ash looked between them, speechless. If neither of them wanted to run the gym, why not close it entirely? Before he could say more, Xiao Yao piped up. No, if you give it up, how am I supposed to eat battle ramen? Xiao Gang stepped forward with a grin. I don't understand why everyone's worried. It's easy. If I marry Miss Tsuguyo, I'll inherit the gym. Problem solved. Everyone fell into stunned silence before promptly ignoring him. Xiao Gang froze, crushed, while Spinda squeezed him excitedly. Ash walked over and patted him. You forget, you still have a family gym. If Uncle Teishi heard that, he'd go mad. Xiao Gang recovered with a heroic pose. That's okay. We have plenty of cousins. No problem. Ash forced a smile. Right, I have a suggestion. Why not let Miss Tsuguyo inherit the gym? Huh? Everyone was surprised, but it made a surprising amount of sense. Tsuguyo, as Hamaguri's only disciple, could legitimately take over. Ash leaned over to Hamaguri and murmured, Don't you think Tsuguyo likes your son? That would keep the gym in good hands. Hamaguri blinked, then looked between Tsuguyo and Kotaro. He laughed and clapped his hands. Good. Young man, that's a fine suggestion. But, Tsuguyo stammered, unsure. Miss Tsuguyo, how about a battle with me? A good chance to show Master your strength, Ash offered. Yes, Hamaguri agreed. Whether Tsuguyo won or lost, he figured he'd find a way to pass the gym on. Okay, Tsuguyo said, accepting after a quick look at her master. They headed to the battlefield. Tsuguyo sent out Hitmontop. Ash chose Vibrava. Hitmontop was at a superior late stage. Vibrava, Ash called. Hitmontop rapid spin, Tsuguyo ordered. Hitmontop spun like a top and charged at Vibrava. Sandstorm, Vibrava flapped its tiny wings, sending a gritty wind that slowed Hitmontop's advance. Dragon Tail, Ash barked. Dragon energy surged along Vibrava's tail and knocked Hitmontop back, keeping it off balance in the sand. Hitmontop, don't be afraid. Quick attack to close the gap, then full power million-ton kick. Tsuguyo urged. Vibrava Sand Tomb, Ash shouted. The ground suddenly erupted with quicksand pits. Hitmontop, pressing through the sandstorm, plunged into one of them. Tsuguyo cried, Oh no! Ash seized the opening. Dragon Pulse! Hitmontop, Aura Sphere, Tsuguyo countered. The Dragon Pulse was blocked by the Aura Sphere and flew past. Vibrava flapped and dodged, but Hitmontop had already broken free from the sand pit and appeared behind Vibrava. Now, million-ton kick! Hitmontop's kick slammed into Vibrava and sent it tumbling. Ash stayed calm. Vibrava, dig! Vibrava tucked in and burrowed to the safety of the ground. Hitmontop, watch out! Tsuguyo warned, frantic as Hitmontop circled, searching. Sand Tomb, Ash called from below. Vibrava used Sand Tomb from underground. Hitmontop fell into another quicksand pit. What? Tsuguyo blurted. Now, Vibrava, break out. Fissure for the finish. Ash ordered. Fissure, a one-hit knockout-style attack, cracked the ground as Vibrava burst out, sweeping past Hitmontop. Hitmontop collapsed, unable to continue the battle. Vibrava's victory also pushed it to the superior peak. Tsuguyo bowed her head. I'm sorry, Master. I lost. No, what a wonderful fight, Tsuguyo, Hamaguri said with a smile. The gym will be yours from now on. He added quietly to Tsuguyo. That boy is yours too. Tsuguyo flushed and glanced over at Kotaro, then nodded. Hamaguri beamed with satisfaction. Xiao Gang, who had been watching, froze and then deflated again. With the gym matter settled, Hamaguri and Kotaro reconciled. The real reason Kotaro loved making ramen was that Hamaguri had once made him ramen as a child, and Hamaguri's big dream turned out to be the simple wish to travel around with a ramen cart. Ash's group all collapsed at the revelation. Both father and son had wanted to sell ramen, not inherit the gym. In the end, everyone got to try Hamaguri's authentic battle ramen. Full and satisfied, Ash and company continued on their journey. To be continued. Chapter 152, Battle Arena, Cucumber Fragrance. On the way to the battle arena, Ash's Munchlax suddenly felt unwell and lost its appetite. They were helped by the villa's housekeeper grandmother and Karina's grandfather, and unexpectedly ran into Team Rocket at the villa. It turned out the villa belonged to Kojiro. Kojiro's Chimecho had fallen ill, and he had come looking for help. Not wanting to reveal his affiliation with Team Rocket, Kojiro struck a temporary truce with Ash. Musashi and Meowth still wanted to make trouble, but faced with Ash and Pikachu's deterrence, they wisely held back. Mime Jr. and the villa took a liking to Kojiro. In the end, with Munchlax recovered, Ash's group said their goodbyes. Wanting to catch up, Team Rocket reluctantly left the still recovering Chimecho behind, but they unexpectedly nabbed the Mime Jr. instead. Under the watchful eyes of the grandmother and Karina's grandfather, Team Rocket chased after Ash's group. After leaving Kojiro's villa, Ash and his friends finally arrived at the battle arena. They took their Pokémon to the Pokémon Center for a checkup. Even though Ash's Pokémon were in good shape, regular checkups were sensible. After the exam, they met Atsushi at the center. "Hi, Ash. I knew you'd be arriving about now," Atsushi greeted. "Mr. Atsushi," Ash and his friends replied. "You seem full of fighting spirit this time," Atsushi said approvingly. "Of course. I'm determined to earn the frontier symbol this time," Ash answered confidently. Pikachu and Eevee chimed in with their usual calls. "All right then, my car's out front," Atsushi announced, standing up. Ash's group looked nervous. Maybe walking would be better. Good exercise," someone offered, and they set off on foot. Guided by Atsushi, they reached the battle arena. The city gate rose like the entrance to an ancient citadel. Atsushi stood before it, took a deep breath, and shouted, "Excuse me." "Release," came the response, and the gate slowly opened. Ash's group entered under Atsushi's lead. Inside the arena, 2 rows of young people in blue gym uniforms stood lined up. In the center stood a girl in a black gym uniform with short golden hair, hands poised in a fighting stance. "Welcome to the battle arena. I am the frontier brain here, Arena Master Huang Guoxiang," she announced. "Ash, this is the challenger, Huang Guoxiang," Atsushi introduced. "I'm Ash from Pallet Town. These are my partners, Pikachu and Eevee," Ash replied. Huang Guoxiang flashed a spirited smile. "No need to be formal. Bring it on, Ash." Their hot-blooded energy made Brock and the others shake their heads with a resigned chuckle. Huang Guoxiang clapped her hands. "Let's decide the match format with the roulette." A huge roulette wheel rose from the ground, divided into 3 sections. If it lands on 1, it's a 1-on-1. 2 means 2-on-2. 3 is a 3-on-3 elimination match, she explained. "Got it," Ash said, approaching the wheel. He pulled the lever. The pointer spun wildly and finally stopped on 2. 2-on-2. The first to win 2 rounds wins the match, the announcer declared. Ash nodded. "All right, let's do it." The referee led them to the battlefield. Now, the frontier battle between Arena Master Huang Guoxiang and Ash from Pallet Town begins. Huang Guoxiang's disciples sat together to watch, and surprisingly, the Team Rocket trio, wearing gym uniforms, were mixed in among the spectators. Huang Guoxiang sent out Medicham and Hariyama. "These are the Pokémon I'll use," she announced. Ash countered, "It'll be Sceptile and Combuskin." The 2 Pokémon called out in response. "I'll send out Hariyama first," Huang Guoxiang declared. "Then I'll send out Combuskin," Ash said, releasing his Pokémon. "Ready, begin." Ash struck first. Combuskin, flame charge into Sky Uppercut. Flames flared along Combuskin's body as it accelerated, and a white glow gathered around its fist as it lunged at Hariyama. "Hariyama, use Arm Thrust," Huang Guoxiang ordered. The 2 fighting Pokémon collided with a resounding crash. Though Combuskin's level was lower, Ash's training made it a fierce opponent. The battle raged, and Hariyama initially had the edge, but Combuskin's speed kept increasing. Sensing the shift, Huang Guoxiang countered with strategy rather than a simple exchange. "Hariyama, go all out! Focus punch!" A white aura pulsed around Hariyama's fists as it struck with full force, sending Combuskin flying. Ash cried out, "Combuskin, are you okay?" Combuskin shook its head, steadied itself, and got back up. "Combuskin, aerial ace!" Combuskin flashed through the air for a precise strike, then looped around for another attack. "Hariyama, body slam from behind." Hariyama spun and lunged. "Dodge!" Ash shouted. Combuskin adjusted midair and slipped past the attack. "Now, flame charge into Thunder Punch." Flames surrounded Combuskin as electricity crackled through its strike, and it slammed into Hariyama. Huang Guoxiang responded, "Focus Punch," intending to meet a fence with overwhelming power. At the last moment, Ash changed tactics. "Bounce into Flame Kick." Hariyama's iron palms only hit Combuskin's fiery afterimage. Combuskin descended, flames blazing from its right foot, and kicked Hariyama hard enough to send it tumbling. "Finish it! Flame Kick!" With its speed stacked from multiple flame charges, Combuskin surged above Hariyama. Its right foot ignited and smashed down, slamming the out-of-breath Hariyama into the battlefield. Combuskin touched down, panting, and a brilliant blue and white light enveloped its whole body. Evolutional energy surged upward. To be continued. Chapter 153, a symbol of perseverance. Xiamo. A burst of evolutionary light exploded and Blaziken emerged. The little chick from before had finally grown up. Gym mid-stage. Moves, Brave Bird, Flare Blitz, Close Combat. It evolved, everyone gasped. Hariyama can't continue. Blaziken wins. The referee recovered and announced the result. Well done, Blaziken. Xiamo. Blaziken answered with fighting intent, eager to prove itself after evolving. Ash nodded. Okay, continue the battle. Come back, Hariyama. Get some rest. Huang Guoxiang recalled Hariyama. Medicham, I'm counting on you. Medichai Heavenly King initial stage. Medicham, use Focus Punch. Medicham's glowing blue fist drove forward. Blaziken, dodge. Blaziken was fast, but Medicham's strength made it dangerous. Blaziken slipped aside just in time. Close combat. Blaziken flashed behind Medicham, striking with a flurry of punches and kicks. Medicam, behind you, high jump kick. Huang Guoxiang ordered. Medicam spun and landed a high jump kick that sent Blaziken flying. Medicam, now, Focus Punch. Medicam chased down the recoiling Blaziken, swinging its fist. Flamethrower. Blaziken erupted in a pillar of flame, but Medicam's punch shattered it. Blaziken, go all out, Brave Bird, Ash shouted. Blaziken leapt and slammed into Medicham from above, a blazing bird attack from the sky. But the crash left Blaziken exhausted and unable to battle. Blaziken is unable to battle. Medicham wins. You did great, Blaziken. You fought well, Ash said, recalling his fallen partner. I'm counting on you, Sceptile. Gara. Sceptile appeared, twig in its mouth, cool and focused. After intensive training, it had reached the gym later stage, still 2 levels below Medicam, but Blaziken had drained some of Medicam's stamina, so Sceptile still had a chance. Ash had one more advantage. Sceptile, quick attack into Leaf Blade. Sceptile blurred forward as green blades formed. Medicam, use Confusion. Medicam's eyes glowed blue, reaching out to control the incoming Sceptile and flinging it to the ground. Sceptile popped back up unfazed. All right, show our bond. Mega Evolution. Ash activated his universal ring. It connected with the Megastone Sceptile held, forming a genetic link. A white flash later, Mega Sceptile appeared. Mega Sceptile, type Grass Dragon, ability, Strength, Gym Peak stage. Now the battle properly begins. Sceptile, Double Team, and Dragon Pulse. Mega Sceptile dashed, creating countless afterimages that surrounded Medicam, while a Dragon Pulse streaked forward. Mega Evolution? Huang Guoxiang exclaimed. Medicam, Confusion across the whole field. A wave of psychic energy shattered Sceptile's clones, leaving only its true body exposed. The Dragon Pulse closed in. Ice Punch. Medicam's fists gathered an ice blue light and met the Dragon Pulse, freezing and shattering it. Leaf Blade. Sceptile reappeared behind Medicham with lightning speed, slashing down with an emerald curved blade. Medicham, behind you. Medicham pivoted and met the attack with Ice Punch. The clash knocked Mega Sceptile back toward Ash, while Medicham only stumbled a few steps. Sceptile's Sunny Day. Mega Sceptile launched an orb of light skyward. The sun beamed down, and the air grew dry. Fire Punch. Medicam's fists ignited as it surged forward. Solar Beam. Mega Sceptile immediately began drawing solar energy and fired. Medicam didn't flinch. Its blazing punches kept coming as it closed the distance. Focus Punch. Hit it hard. Protect. Mega Sceptile crossed its arms and formed a green shield. Medicam's Focus Punch slammed into it. Then Ash shouted, Leaf Storm. A raging leaf storm erupted around the two, throwing Medicam clear and giving Ash the opening he needed. Sceptile Solar Blade. Mega Sceptile condensed sunlight into a massive blade and brought it down. When the smoke cleared, Medicam was kneeling on one knee, badly hurt but still conscious. If that's the case, finish it, Leaf Blade, Ash called. Medicham, counter with Focus Punch, Huang Guoxiang urged. Medicam pushed up, fists glowing as it charged. But the instant it turned, Mega Sceptile flashed behind and slashed twice across Medicham's back. Then coolly, Sceptile sheathed its blade, bit down on its twig, deactivated its Mega Evolution, and returned to Ash's side. Medicham collapsed. Medicam is unable to battle. Sceptile wins. The winner is Ash of Pallet Town. The referee announced. Yay, Ash won, Xiaoyao cheered. Mega Sceptile is so cool. Xiaosheng's eyes glittered. Atsushi nodded, impressed. Even the fiery Huang Guoxiang was beaten by him. As dusk fell outside the battle arena, Huang Guoxiang smiled and approached. Ash, I've truly seen your spirit and courage today. Not at all, Ash replied modestly. Huang Guoxiang produced a badge and handed it to him. Ash, this is proof of your victory in the battle arena, the symbol of perseverance. Ash accepted it, thanking her. Xiao Yao and the others congratulated him. Atsushi then told them the next facility was the Battle Dome, south of Lavender Town. After saying goodbye to Atsushi and Huang Guoxiang, Ash and the group set off for the next challenge. To be continued. Chapter 154, Bird Heroes Celebration. Xiaozhi's group was heading for the next battle facility when they unexpectedly learned that Oldoran Castle was holding a festival to honor the Aura Guardian. Since Ash possessed Aura, he was naturally interested and decided to join in. Now he was walking across the bridge leading to Oldoran Castle. Dressed in casual clothes, he and his friends looked a little out of place among the costumed crowd. To take part in the city's events, you have to wear historical clothes, Xiao Yao said, part excited, part embarrassed. Xiao Gang checked the travel guide and grinned. Don't worry, the castle rents them out to everyone. Really? Xiao Sheng said, already pulling out his navigator to find the rental place. The guide told the legend. Long ago, before Pokeballs were commonplace, a great war erupted here. Oldoran Castle found itself in the middle of the fighting and on the verge of falling. At that moment, the castle's Aura Guardian, Aaron, stepped forward and stopped the war at the cost of his own aura. From then on, the people of Oldoran Castle remembered Aaron, and a battle festival has been held periodically. The winner even receives the title of Guardian. At the costume rental, the group paused at the sheer variety of outfits. Wow, do we choose our own costumes? Which one should I pick? This is so hard. Xiao Yao glanced over at Ash and suspected he'd pick the Guardian outfit, so the four of them split up to make their selections. Xiao Yao chose a pink formal dress with a beautifully decorative buckle at the waist and a bow-tied headscarf. She looked almost like a little princess. Xiao Sheng dressed as a young prince, and Xiao Gang chose a brown minister's outfit. Ash, as if it had been made for him, found an outfit identical to the Aura Guardians, and it fit perfectly. Striking a quick, dramatic pose, Ash slipped an arm around Xiao Yao's hand. Ah, Ash, it really suits you, Xiao Yao gasped, staring at him with shining eyes. He carried a heroic aura that pulled at her like fate. Pika, Eevee, Pikachu and Eevee gathered around, chattering as if they wanted to say something. While the others were changing, the two Pokémon had chased a Pichu behind the curtain, only for the Pichu to suddenly turn into a Trico and leap out a window. Surprised, Pikachu and Eevee rushed to tell their trainers, but their report was lost in the bustle. Xiao Gang, Xiao Yao, and Xiao Sheng grinned mischievously and gently dressed Pikachu and Eevee in tiny outfits and little hats. So cute, Xiao Yao squealed. The Pokémon battles are about to start, Xiao Gang said, checking the time. All right, Pikachu, Eevee, let's go, Ash said. Pika! Eevee! Pikachu and Eevee hopped onto Ash's shoulders, and the group strode toward the arena, a grand Western European-style coliseum packed with people, all eager to see who would become the next Aura Guardian. Let us welcome the ruler of Oldoran Castle, Princess Eileen, came the announcement. Princess Eileen appeared in elegant dress, holding a mime junior that copied her every gesture with adorable precision. She addressed the crowd. This festival is dedicated to Aaron, the Aura Guardian who saved us. Let the Pokémon battles begin. Ash was chosen to go on stage first. His opponent was a man dressed as a knight who sent out a Breloom. Ash, you're up? Bagon, Ash called. Bay. Bagon leapt out. Lately, Bagon had grown fast in strength. Approaching the peak of the superior stage, this was a good chance to gain experience. Ash struck without hesitation. Bagon, use Flamethrower. Bagon exhaled a pillar of orange flame that engulfed Breloom. The attack didn't knock Breloom out, but it left the grass, fighting type badly burned. Breloom, finish it with Mach Punch, the knight barked. Breloom pushed through the burn and lunged with Mach Punch. Bagon, jump and then Dragon Rush, Ash ordered. Bagon soared up. Breloom's punch missed and slammed into the ground. Eyes narrowing, Bagon gathered dragon energy and lunged down. Dragon Rush slammed into Breloom and put it out of the match. The crowd erupted into applause. Nearby, a Trico had slipped into the audience beside Princess Eileen. Spotting Mime Jr., it transformed into another Mime Jr. and mimicked the princess, so perfectly synchronized it was almost eerie. An attendant blinked in surprise. One Mime Jr. then shifted back into an IPOM, revealing the trick. Ash and Bagon continued winning match after match until they reached the finals, where the opponent sent out a Sneasel, a dark ice type. "Start with Flamethrower," Ash called. The Sneasel deftly dodged the fire with a leap. "Sneasel, use Icy Wind," the opponent countered. A blast of cold air swept toward Bagon. Ice hits Dragon-type Pokémon for super effective damage. "Bagon, Flame Vortex," Ash shouted. Bagon unleashed a massive ring of flames to meet the icy gale. Steam and spray filled the arena as the two moves collided. "Dark Pulse," the opponent pressed, sending a black orb of energy forward through the mist. When the cloud cleared, Sneasel hesitated. There was no sign of Bagon. Ash gave a quick, confident order. "Dragon Claw!" Bagon flashed behind Sneasel and struck with a gleaming green dragon claw that sent the challenger flying. "Headbutt," Ash added. Bagon slammed into Sneasel with a powerful headbutt and finally put it out of the fight. The crowd roared. Bagon's rise was clear. He had grown to the peak of the superior stage. "Sneasel is unable to battle. Bagon wins," the referee declared. Therefore, this year's Aura Guardian is Ash from Pallet Town. Thunderous applause filled the arena as everyone cheered and celebrated Ash's victory. To be continued. Chapter 155, Dreamy Debut, Millennium Jackal Lucario. "You did great, Bagon," Ash encouraged. "Pika, Eevee!" Pikachu and Eevee hopped down to congratulate him. Bagon answered with a proud little roar and a grin. Just then an Ipom sprang down, grabbed Pikachu and the others, and began twirling around them in excitement. A blue light flashed around Ash as he activated his aura. Instantly, he felt the Ipom's aura, and it was far stronger than it should have been. A clear impression rose in his mind. Mew, Psychic type. Ability, Synchronize. Power, Divine. Ash realized at once that the Ipom before him was Mew in disguise. The creature seemed to sense Ash's aura and buzzed around him even more energetically. At that moment, Ash's opponent stepped forward and removed her helmet, revealing a very beautiful young woman. Xiao Gang in the stands went completely pale, then bolted down to the arena. Xiao Sheng followed after him, leaving only Xiao Yao behind, muttering about the revelation that the mysterious competitor was female. By the time Xiao Yao reacted, Xiao Gang and Xiao Sheng were already on the field. "I'm Kid. Nice to meet you," the woman said, offering her hand. Xiao Gang seized it with all the enthusiasm of a lovesick fool. "My name is Xiao Gang," he gushed. "It would be my honor if this fair, charming lady would—" all right, if you want a partner, go find one over there," Xiao Sheng shouted, grabbing Xiao Gang by the ear and hauling him away. Night fell over the castle. In the great banquet hall, trainers from across the region gathered. Princess Eileen officiated the ceremony for Ash. Taking a staff topped with a crystal from the elder, she presented it to him with solemnity. "This is the champion's staff that once belonged to Aaron, the champion of Aura," she announced. "Only those who win the festival's battles and are chosen as champion have the right to hold it. Please accept it, Ash." "Yes," Ash took the staff. The aura inside him stirred on its own, responding to the crystal. A faint glimmer pulsed from the gem. A questioning, almost familiar whisper slid into Ash's mind. "Why?" He poured more aura into the staff, uneasy. Princess Eileen smiled and lifted her voice for the gathered crowd. "To honor the hero who defended our country, Aaron, tonight, let us all celebrate." Music began, and the ball started in earnest. Xiao Gang plucked up the courage to ask Kid to dance, and she did not refuse. Xiao Sheng, as usual, set off on a feast-hunting mission. As champion of Aura, Ash couldn't wander without permission and found himself sitting beside Princess Eileen, watching the festivities. Pikachu and Eevee were tugged away by the disguised Mew. Kid soon managed to trick Xiao Gang into fetching drinks while she slipped away. Ash's aura tracked her movement. She was heading toward Mew and the others. Meanwhile, Team Rocket, Musashi and Kojiro danced among the guests as Meowth covertly tailing Pikachu and the others. Ash didn't worry much. With Kid's resources, he thought, she couldn't prevail against Mew, and Meowth could be ignored. From the castle rooftop, Kid peered through binoculars. She had brought high-tech gear and a couple of Weavile as backup. When Mew shed its Ipom disguise, Kid smiled. "Found you," she breathed. "Go, Weavile, attach the transmitter to Mew." The Weavile dashed through a window and hurtled toward the attic. Mew only giggled, unconcerned. Pikachu and Eevee, however, took no chances. Irontail sent the pair of intruders tumbling. Eevee's Swift swarmed them, and Pikachu followed with a fierce thunderbolt that left the Weavile smoking and sprawled. Mew realized it had been found and used teleport. In a blink, it vanished, carrying Eevee, Pikachu, and the secretly following Meowth with it. Xiao Sheng, who had just finished eating and was wandering, witnessed the vanish and sprinted back to tell Ash. Kid watched in dismay as a Pidgeot soared off into the distance toward a giant tree, carrying Pikachu, Eevee, and Meowth. She cursed softly. Pikachu and Eevee were Ash's Pokémon, and turned her attention back to him. In the Great Hall, Ash couldn't take his eyes off the champion's staff. "Why?" he murmured. "It's here again," he thought, the words full of bitter familiarity and a strange tug of attachment. He had felt that whisper before. The music ended. Princess Eileen stepped forward. "Tonight's banquet is concluded. The champion of Aura will see everyone off." Ash stood and raised the staff. As he took a hero's pose, his aura surged, channeling into the crystal. The gem flared, and the entire staff trembled. Under every eye, a beam of light shot from the crystal and shaped itself into a majestic humanoid form, jackal-headed, regal, kneeling on one knee before Ash. Ash felt his heart leap. This was the Pokémon most attuned to his aura, Lucario. Its aura control far surpassed Ash's own. It reached out and immediately homed in on the familiar power in the room. Aaron's. "Lord Aaron!" Lucario leapt to Ash's side, eyes squeezed shut, and asked through direct telepathy, "Why did you abandon the royal city?" Telepathy, Ash realized. Lucario was communicating in his mind. He answered aloud, "Lucario, calm down. Open your eyes. I'm not Aaron." The sound of Ash's voice stopped Lucario. It halted the flow of aura sensing, opened its eyes, and stared, first at Ash, then at the others, unable to believe what it saw. "That Lucario is." Princess Eileen trailed off, awe and disbelief mingling in her voice. "It's the legendary Pokémon that followed Champion Aaron." After countless festivals and many aura champions, fate had chosen a true champion with an aura like Aaron's. Lucario stood there, breathing in the light of the crystal, clearly sensing a connection none of them fully understood. To be continued. Chapter 156. Lucario, the World Beginning Tree. After activating his aura, Ash pinpointed Lucario's location and hurried off with Princess Eileen and the others in pursuit. Lucario had slipped out of the banquet hall and wandered through the quiet corridors of the castle. Brilliant fireworks bloomed across the night sky, as if celebrating Aaron's great deeds, but Lucario seemed oddly out of place amidst the revelry. Guided by fragmented memories, it found its way to the room beside the garden. Ash and the others arrived just in time to see Lucario push the door open and step inside. They followed quickly. Lucario stood motionless, lost in recollection. "Lucario!" Princess Eileen called softly. Lucario spun around and stared into the dimness. "Princess Lin-En!" The lights came on, and the young woman before him smiled gently. "I'm sorry. I'm not Lin-En. Queen Lin-En was my ancestor. My name is Eileen." Eileen stepped close and wrapped Lucario in a careful embrace. "You've been asleep for a very long time." Lucario broke free in disbelief, stumbling back until he bumped into a cabinet. "How? This was our room just yesterday." Eileen's expression softened with pity. "For you, it may have felt like yesterday, but for us, it was many, many years." She spoke kindly and patiently until Lucario's breathing steadied and his agitation eased. The group moved into a side hall. Eileen sat on a throne. Lucario knelt before her, and Ash, Xiaogang, and Xiao Yao stood behind him. "According to legend, you disappeared during the war," Eileen began. "Tell us exactly what happened." Lucario raised his head. Both armies were closing in, and the city was on the brink of being torn apart. "I went out to scout the battlefield. I wanted to see if there was any way to stop the fighting. But at that time, there was nothing anyone could do." "The legend says Champion Aaron saved the city," Eileen said. Lucario snapped upright, shock turning to anger. "What? How can that be? Isn't that true?" Xiao Yao asked, skeptical. Lucario's anger flared. "It was Aaron. He abandoned the city and left. He sealed me away." Ash stepped forward, frowning. As an aura user himself, he couldn't accept that Aaron would desert his post. "How do you know that for sure?" Lucario flared, distrust pouring from him. "As partners, is that the kind of man he was? Is that all the trust you had in him?" "Stop talking!" Lucario barked and lunged at Ash. Before he could reach him, a dark figure shot from Ash's shadow. Marshadao delivered a swift kick, and Lucario slammed into the wall. "The Guide of Shadows, Marshadow!" Eileen exclaimed. Xiao Yao and Xiao Gang weren't surprised. They already knew Ash had a bond with Marshadow. Lucario glared at the spirit guarding Ash. He couldn't understand why someone with the same aura as Aaron would have such a protector. Ash put his hands up to calm him. "I don't know the whole truth yet, but Aaron is not the type to run. Think about him. Based on what you remember of Aaron, would he really abandon the city?" Ash's question cut through Lucario's fury. The dog-like Pokemon's shoulders sagged as shock gave way to confusion. Remember, Ash said quietly, "I'm Ash from Pallet Town. I'm an aura user, too, like Aaron." Lucario's posture shifted. He knelt and bowed his head. "Ash, please help me find the truth." Ash smiled and nodded. "I'll do everything I can." Marshadow melted back into Ash's shadow as the mood eased. Suddenly, Xiao Sheng came sprinting into the hall, breathless and alarmed. "This is bad, Mew! What happened?" Xiao Yao asked. Mew appeared, Xiao Sheng blurted. Mew showed up, and Pikachu, Eevee, and Meowth. They all vanished. "Mew," Lucario murmured, turning his head. Xiao Gang explained with wide eyes. "That's Lucario, the Pokemon that had been sealed in the champion's staff by Aaron. It's just awakened." Xiao Sheng stared at Lucario, unbelieving. "You're serious? Did you really see Mew?" Xiao Yao pressed. "You didn't imagine it?" Kid, having already changed back into her formal gown, stepped forward. "I saw it too. Mew appeared near the observation tower. Pikachu and the others transformed and then flew away with it." Xiao Gang frowned, thinking it over. "Why would Mew take them?" Eileen smiled faintly. "Mew is a playful spirit. It likes tricks. Sometimes it appears in the city and steals things or Pokemon for a while, only to return them later." Ash's jaw tightened. He had sensed Kid's involvement. His aura told him she had attacked Pikachu and the others, but Meowth's disappearance was unexpected. He worried about what trouble Musashi and Kojiro might get into. "We have to bring them back," Ash said firmly. Eileen rose and led them to a balcony. Beneath the star-studded sky, a colossal tree-shaped rock rose from the mountain, an ancient, massive formation lit by the fireworks. "That's the world beginning tree," Eileen explained. "We call it that because it looks like the tree from the old tales. Mew lives there. You have aura. Ash, I believe you can find it." Ash nodded. Xiao Gang and the others all wanted to go with him. Lucario stepped forward. "Please let me come." When Aaron left, he flew away on his Pidgeot in that direction. "I remember the way." "Okay," Ash replied. Kid removed her formal dress to reveal combat clothes beneath and grinned. "I'll come too. I'll help." The group gathered, resolve hardening. The night wind lifted the banners, and the distant silhouette of the world beginning tree stood like a promise and a mystery waiting on the mountain. To be continued. Chapter 157, Flower of Time, 1,000 Years of Scenes. "Ah, you're that adventurer, Kid Summers." Xiao Gang grabbed Kid's hand excitedly. "You were right beside me, and I didn't even notice. I'm so slow-witted, I really must reflect on myself. I'm so honored to meet you." "Is she famous?" Xiao Yao asked doubtfully. "Of course." Xiao Gang fanned open a handbook and announced, "It's all in my world records book. The shortest time to circumnavigate the globe by hot air balloon, the deepest solo submarine dive, the longest solo space swim. She holds multiple world records. A genuine female superstar." As Xiao Gang chattered on, Ash cut in without hesitation. "Miss Kid, you came here for the world beginning tree, right? And my aura told me you made a move on Pikachu." "What? You're saying Miss Kid attacked Pikachu and the others?" Xiao Sheng blurted in shock. Kid sighed good-naturedly. "Well, you got me. I can't hide anything from you, Ash." "That's right. I came to investigate the world beginning tree. The reason I attacked Pikachu and the others was to install signal transmitters and collect data. I never meant things to turn out like that," Kid admitted. Ash probed her with his aura and sensed she was telling the truth. He nodded and agreed to let her join them. Better to have her under his watch than running off and causing trouble on her own. Before dawn the next day, Kid drove the off-road vehicle with Ash and the others piled in. The mountain road ahead, jagged and rough, looked almost flat from their vantage. Lucario ran ahead through the mist, guiding the way. Though it could have sailed along on the roof, it seemed to want to stretch its legs. The trip went smoothly. They stopped for lunch and unexpectedly ran into a Sudowoodo, which climbed into the vehicle and rode along with them for a while. Soon the group came to a geyser that forced them out of the car to wait it out. Nearby, they discovered a hot spring, so everyone summoned their Pokémon, changed into swimsuits, and eased into the warm water. They soaked, relaxed, and eventually erupted into a playful water fight. Meanwhile, in a hollow of the world beginning tree filled with toys, Eevee, Pikachu, and Mew were having a blast. Confident Ash would find them. Only Meowth lay back inside, resigned. "Ash, come here!" Xiao Yao called from across the spring with Squirtle. When Ash swam over, she pointed to an odd flower growing on the mountainside. "What's that?" "I'll take a look." Ash leapt from the water and scrambled up the rock with ease. The flower was strange indeed, spiraled and glowing with a purple, star-like light. Lucario padded up beside him and explained, "That's a time flower. Those who can use aura can see the miracles of time through it." Ash focused his aura into the blossom. The time flower opened and showed a scene. Ash climbing the rock to reach the flower, an image of the very moment he'd just experienced. "Amazing. Is this the miracle of time?" Xiao Yao breathed. Night fell. They built a fire and ate. Ash remembered 2 people hiding in the vehicle's trunk and asked Xiao Gang to pack 2 extra meals. Xiao Gang, puzzled, complied. After everyone finished, Ash quietly knocked on the trunk, set the food inside, and left. Not long after, the trunk creaked open and Musashi and Kojiro climbed out. Team Rocket apparently intended to go rescue themselves. Satoshi, they saw the food, exchanged a greedy look, and nodded. They weren't above taking what was handed to them. Smells great." "Yeah, Satoshi and the others get such good food every day." Musashi and Kojiro gulped it down. The next morning, after another long day of travel, the group reached the valley at the foot of the world-beginning tree. Lucario, which had been resting on the vehicle roof, suddenly leapt down and stared at a stone pillar. "This is where I was sealed," it said, voice tight. Ash stepped forward and found another time flower nearby. "I think it can tell you what happened," he said, then poured his aura into the blossom. The flower flared with white light and unfolded a scene. In the vision, Aaron hurled his champion's wand toward Lucario. The wand struck in front of Lucario. Its crystal flared and drew Lucario in, sealing it. Aaron then mounted his Pidgeot and rode off toward the world-beginning tree. After he left, the whole valley began to shake as countless armored Pokémon surged in, radiating violent aura. A war had broken out. Lucario trembled with remembered fury. It had been sealed to protect it during that war, then thrown into an age that wasn't its own. Overcome, it launched an aura sphere at the apparition. Because the image was a projection, the aura sphere flew back toward Ash and the others, only for Marshadao to step in and dispel the attack. "Lucario, calm down. That's just an image," Ash shouted. Lucario's muscles slowly relaxed. It bowed its head. "Mr. Xiaozhi, I'm sorry," it murmured. "That was terrifying." "Was that a battlefield from long ago?" Xiao Yao asked, still pale. "Maybe Aaron sealed Lucario to protect it," Xiao Sheng guessed. "Protect me?" Lucario echoed, head lowered. Ash patted its shoulder. "Aaron left toward the world-beginning tree. If that's true, we'll learn the whole truth when we get there." "Yes, Mr. Xiaozhi." Lucario looked up at the towering world-beginning tree. A blue glow flickered over Ash, and he warned, "Lucario, we've got company." Marshado and Lucario tensed. A rock Pokémon burst from the ground, flipped the off-road vehicle, and fired a hyper beam toward them. Chapter 158, Guardians of the Pillar. Reunion. It's Regirock, Aura Sphere. Marshado and Lucario launched Aura Spheres at the same time. One neutralized a hyper beam while the other pushed Regirock back. Regirock rose again, unfazed, and condensed a massive rock throw directly over Ash and the others. Again, Aura Sphere. The 2 attacks shattered the rock throw, sending a cascade of debris down and kicking up a choking dust cloud. Taking advantage of the cover, Ash hurried everyone away. They were here to retrieve Pikachu and the others, not to fight. They pushed through a crystal-lined cavern and finally reached the base of the world-beginning tree. Sensing with his aura, Ash realized Pikachu and the others were at the very top of the towering tree. "It warned us not to come closer," Lucario said, referring to Regirock's earlier attack. "A warning, then," Ash mused. "Regirock must be one of the tree's guardians." Ash took in the scene. Sunlight poured in. Clear water flowed nearby. Pokémon lived here in peaceful abundance, even species long thought extinct, Omastar and Aerodactyl among them. The place would send fossil researchers into ecstasy. Kid put on her glasses and clicked on the camera. Is this directly beneath the world beginning tree? She even pulled a small investigation drone from her pack. But before she could launch it, Marshado swept the device aside and smashed it. Marsha! Marshado warned sharply. As a guardian with sacred duty, it clearly understood the importance of the world beginning tree and would not let her probe it carelessly. Lucario translated for them. Marshado was telling her not to move about recklessly, especially not to touch those crystals. Ash added a warning of his own. Those crystals are full of aura. This whole tree is alive. We're only here to pick up Pikachu and then the others. No unnecessary trouble. Okay. Seeing Ash's serious expression, Kid reluctantly set the drone back in her bag. They continued upward. Midway, another guardian blocked their path. Regis, a towering figure of interlocking ice pillars. It unleashed a blizzard-like beam. Lucario met it with a full-power aura sphere, while Marshado slipped into the shadows and struck with Shadow Sneak, toppling Regis. Move. Don't engage them any further. Retreat, Ash ordered, intent on escape rather than battle. But Regis recovered and pursued. They fled into a cave only to find Team Rocket, Musashi, Kojiro, and Meowth also cornered and running. Closing in on them were Regirock and the last guardian, Registeel. Now Ash and his group were surrounded. Ash, please, Musashi and Kojiro pleaded. In that case, we'll fight, Ash said, resolve hardening. Marshado, Lucario, I'm counting on you. Marsha, Lucario, the Regis all shared a common weakness, fighting-type moves. The two allies launched aura spheres together just as the Regi condensed hyper beams. The two beams collided with a thunderous blast, then the aura spheres pushed through, striking the Regi squarely. The crystal cores of the Regi glowed, and the Guardians rose again almost instantly. This is the power of the world beginning tree, Kid breathed. It proves the tree is truly alive. If that's the case, Ash said quickly, Marshado, Lucario, use Focus Punch. Lucario braced and plunged its focus inward, while Marshado slipped into the shadows and struck with surgical precision. Marshado quickly felled Registeel and Regis, then joined Lucario in taking down Regirock. Their combined fighting power overwhelmed the Guardians despite the tree's restorative glow. Marshado, release your divine aura, lure Mew down, Ash commanded. Marsha! Marshado's divine aura unfurled like a soft veil. Mew, which shared a bond with the world beginning tree, immediately felt the signal. With a blink, it teleported beside Ash, bringing with it Pikachu, Eevee, and Meowth. Pika! Eevee! Pikachu and Eevee leapt into Ash's arms. Team Rocket threw themselves into a joyful reunion, Musashi, Kojiro, and Meowth embracing with shocked relief. Mew! The mythical Pokémon glowed a gentle green and communicated with the tree. After a moment, the Regi withdrew, their hostility quelled by the tree's will. Mew circled Marshado excitedly, clearly thrilled to encounter a fellow mythical being. But Marshado, indifferent, slipped back into Ash's shadow. Kid let out a relieved sigh. There's definitely a special relationship between Mew and the world beginning tree. They share power and coexist. Thank you, Mew, Ash said. Mew responded by nuzzling him happily as it twined around his shoulders. Aaron, the Aura Guardian from 1,000 years ago, do you know anything about him? Ash asked. Recovering Pikachu was only part of their mission. The bigger goal was the truth about Aaron. Mew considered for a moment, then flew off in a single direction. Ash and the others followed eagerly. Mew led them deep into the heart of the world beginning tree, into a bright, sacred space. In the center stood a giant crystal, glowing a soft green. This must be the heart of the world beginning tree, Ash whispered. Lucario's attention snagged on something nearby, a familiar pair of gloves lying beside a smaller crystal. A faint human silhouette hovered there. Lucario rushed over, dread and hope clashing in its chest. It poured aura into the crystal. The figure gradually became clearer, and with a pained cry, it called out, Lord Aaron. So that's how it was, Ash said, staring. After Aaron sealed Lucario, he came here alone. If I'm right, Aaron used the power of the world beginning tree to stop the war. Not far from the central crystal, Ash spotted the flower of time. Without hesitation, he channeled his aura into it. The truth was about to be revealed. To be continued. Chapter 159, The Truth, Lucario's Pursuit. The scene before him started to change. Aaron stood alone in that place, shouting, Mew, please show yourself. From the cave mouth above, a Ho-Oh descended. In a flash of white light, it transformed back into Mew and hovered before Aaron. Aaron pleaded, "Mew, I know you are one with this tree. Please, I beg you, lend me your power." Mew, Mew nodded. It had taken the form of Ho-Oh to scout the surroundings, and simple-minded as it was, it did not want a war. Aaron, however, would have to give all his aura to Mew. Tapping the power of the world-beginning tree was too great a burden for anyone else. "My aura is with you." Aaron gathered his aura in his palms, shaping it into a blue sphere. "Please accept my aura." The aura poured out steadily, and the light around Mew grew ever brighter. If Aaron exhausted his aura, only one outcome awaited him: death. "Pika! Pika? Eevee?" The Pokémon nearby cried out in shock and sorrow at Aaron's selfless devotion. This was the mark of a true aura champion. Kid sighed. Aaron sacrificed his life to stop the war, so this is the truth. "Mr. Aaron." Lucario staggered back, disbelieving, and bumped into a time flower beside the crystal that Aaron had become. The time flower glowed white and opened, revealing another scene. Aaron walked with pain to the crystal, removed his gloves, and collapsed before it. His body shone with blue light as he smiled. "Lucario, I'm truly sorry," he whispered. Lucario stepped forward, wanting to embrace him, but could not. "Mr. Aaron," he choked. Aaron continued softly, as if across time and space. "I could only seal you away. If I hadn't, no matter where I went, you'd follow me and share my fate." Lucario gritted his teeth. "Of course I would." Aaron smiled sadly at the words. "Meaningless wars and meaningless sacrifices. One life can be enough, but I have no regrets. In that city, with Princess Eileen and with you, I had many wonderful days. That is what made living worthwhile." Lucario could no longer hold back his tears. "I'm sorry. I didn't believe you then." "Thank you, Lucario. Every day with you made me happy." "Lucario, if possible, I want to meet you again, just once more." After speaking, Aaron closed his eyes. A tear tracked down his cheek, and he wore a contented smile. "Goodbye, my friend." Aaron's body gradually crystallized. "No," Lucario cried. "Mr. Aaron, I was too foolish." Ash stepped forward and put an arm around Lucario. "Lucario, Aaron was a true aura champion," he said. "He sealed you away, and you were reborn 1,000 years later. This is fate. Don't disappoint him. Live out the meaning of your rebirth." "Mr. Ash," Lucario looked up at him. At that moment, the crystal Aaron seemed to sense Lucario's presence. A ball of light drifted out and rearranged itself into the image of Aaron. "Mr. Aaron!" Lucario leaped to his feet and shouted. Aaron smiled and nodded at Lucario. A blinding white light flashed. Everyone had to shield their eyes. Aaron and the crystal dissolved into light and flew into the core of the world-beginning tree. Then the group emerged from the tree, parting ways with a reluctant Mew. Kid drove the SUV and took Ash's group back to Oldoran Castle. After meeting with Princess Eileen and exchanging farewells, Lucario approached holding the champion's wand. "Mr. Ash," he said, "I want to follow you. I feel you are the reason I was reborn. I will protect you with my life." "Ash," Ash started, shocked, and glanced at Princess Eileen. She interrupted him gently. "Ash, since you awakened Lucario, destiny has tied you together. Besides, we live in a time of peace now. Keeping Lucario at the castle would only bury his talents." Ash nodded and presented a friend ball issued by the system. "Lucario, then guide me." "Yes, Mr. Ash!" Lucario slapped the friend ball without hesitation and was taken inside along with the champion's wand. Type, Fighting Steel. Ability, Steadfast. Speed is boosted when flinched. Strength, Champion Peak. Moves, Aura Sphere, Bone Rush, Extreme Speed. Dynamax type. "Congratulations, Ash." Xiao Gang and the others cheered. Ash then sent Blaziken back to its Pokeball. Ding. Obtained the Aura Champion achievement. Reward, Power of Harmony. Ding. Completed the Champion Trainer achievement. Reward, GS Ball. Power of Harmony. With the Power of Harmony, the host can use 2 different battle systems on one Pokemon simultaneously. For example, Mega Evolution used with a Z move. After leaving Oldoran Castle, Ash's group set off for their next destination, the Battle Dome. As they traveled, Ash trained his Pokemon as usual, but this time, he trained himself too. Lucario, seeing how strong Ash's aura was, yet how rudimentary his control remained, began specialized training immediately. Sitting cross-legged on a large rock, Ash followed Lucario's instructions and focused on circulating his aura. Suddenly, his eyes snapped open as a surge of energy flowed into his palms and formed an aura sphere. Boom! The sphere detonated and obliterated a large tree in front of him. Lucario couldn't help but exclaim at Ash's talent. In truth, Ash had had his aura awakened for a long time and could already use it to a degree, but he lacked technique. Under Lucario's formal tutelage, everything clicked. Ash was enlightened and had successfully mastered Aurasphere. The commotion drew the attention of Xiaogang and the others. Seeing the display, they sighed and joked that Ash was becoming less and less human. To be continued. Chapter 160, The Foster Home of the Elf Egg. Xiaoyao's group planned their route and continued toward the Battle Dome. Along the way, they passed through a small town holding a gorgeous competition. With Melodic and Squirtle at her side, Xiaoyao won the Kanto region's first ribbon in that category. After the contest, they walked through a field when Xiaoyao suddenly cried out, "Everyone, look, there's the cutest little farm over there. Living somewhere like that would be so nice." Before she could say more, two Electrode rolled up behind her. "Xiaoyao, watch out! Pikachu!" Ash shouted. "Pikachu!" Pikachu's Thunderbolt blasted out just in time and intercepted the electricity aimed at Xiaoyao. She yelped, "Ah! Why would they attack me all of a sudden?" and hurried back to Ash, clinging to him. Xiaogang frowned at the rolling Electrode. Why would Electrode attack people like that? A girl holding a rake peeked out from behind a bush. "Who are you?" "Those two are our guard Pokémon. They protect the farm. If they find intruders, they chase them off." Xiaoyao flushed. "I'm sorry, we didn't mean to trespass." The girl waved it off. Then her expression brightened with recognition. "Wait, could you be?" She hurried up to Xiaoyao and Ash. "You were in the Saffron City Pokémon contest, right? I saw it on TV." She pointed to Ash. "You won the Vermilion Conference." Then she pointed to Xiaoyao. "And you just won the flower competition, not long ago. It's an honor to meet you." A man and woman, presumably the girl's parents, came out of the farmhouse. "Are those guests?" the man asked, smiling. They brought out black tea and cookies and welcomed the travelers warmly. "So Ash is heading for the battle frontier, and you enter gorgeous competitions? You're both very accomplished. Our Dai Mei wants to be a coordinator too, but," the woman began. "Dai Mei?" Xiaoyao echoed. The couple laughed and introduced themselves. "I'm Kalasa. I run the farm. This is my wife Shimei, and our daughter is Dai Mei." Dai Mei, however, had gone back to work in the fields. "Becoming a coordinator can happen anytime, right?" Xiaoyao said. Xiaogang asked, "Are you two against it?" "Not at all," Kalasa said quickly. "We encourage her, but she thinks too negatively. She doesn't have the courage to travel alone. We want her to travel now and build experience for her future," Shimei added. "Oh, by the way, what kind of farm is this?" Xiaosheng asked, curious. Kalasa smiled. "We run a special foster service. We take requests to hatch Pokémon eggs for people." "Pokémon egg caretakers?" everyone exclaimed. "Can we see?" Xiaoyao's eyes lit up. "Of course," Kalasa said. "I'll show you the egg storage room." They finished their tea and returned to their chores. Xiaosheng sat on the grass with Munchlax and brushed its fur, while Xiaoyao went looking for Dai Mei, hoping to encourage her. "Miss Dai Mei," Xiaoyao said, "you want to be a coordinator, right? Why don't you travel and enter contests?" Ash shot Xiaoyao a look. True, but no need to be so blunt. Dai Mei scoffed. "That sounds like a lot of trouble. I can train right here." "That makes sense too," Xiaoyao said innocently. When the conversation stalled, Ash stepped in with a smile. "Why don't you two have a friendly match? Xiaoyao has a Pokémon that hasn't battled yet, right?" Munchlax?" Xiaoyao hesitated. "But, okay, let's do it." Dai Mei agreed readily. It was a chance to test herself. She ran a few steps, then released a Pokeball. "Vileplume, come out." "All right," Xiaoyao said. "Munchlax, do your best." Munchlax lurched to its feet, blinking. Dai Mei called, "Vileplume, use a gorgeous petal dance." Confused, Munchlax wobbled, and in its confusion it used Metronome. The random move turned out to be Splash. Before Munchlax could recover, Vileplume's petal dance struck and left Munchlax paralyzed. Vileplume followed up with a barrage of seed attacks, and Dai Mei began to feel confident. So that's what a gorgeous competition winner can do, she thought. Xiaoyao, however, refused to give up. "Munchlax, get up! The match is just starting. Show some spirit." Xiaoyao's encouragement woke Munchlax completely. It burst out from the swirling petals, fists glowing a brilliant blue. With a focused cry, it slammed forward with Focus Punch and sent Vileplume flying. "Vileplume, Daimei cried. Excellent, Xiaoyao shouted. Munchlax, finish it with Solar Beam. Munchlax planted its feet and gathered solar energy in its mouth, then fired a concentrated green beam. Vileplume dodged but couldn't avoid being grazed by the blast. Its petals were struck, and it collapsed. Vileplume is unable to battle. Munchlax wins. The winner is Xiaoyao, Ash announced. Daimei recalled Vileplume, sighing. As I thought, you really are strong. A gorgeous competition winner is no joke. Kalasa then gathered everyone and led them toward the Pokémon egg storage warehouse. The group followed eagerly, curious to see the hatchery and the clutch of eggs inside. To be continued.